left to go in the football game. Quarterback Robinson kicks Jones. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6. Touchdown, Big Orange!
It's a college football rivalry that takes a backseat to none. It's Alabama-Tennessee, a game that traditionally commands the attention of the entire SEC. From the glory days of General Bob Neyland to the legend that is Bear Bryant, these two heavyweights have slugged it out in some classics. And now in 1985, the tradition lives on. Alabama got a leg up on the conference race with their season-opening win on the road against the Georgia Bulldogs, a game decided in the final seconds when the Tide's much-improved quarterback Mike Shula teamed up with one of the SEC's most exciting newcomers, wide receiver Albert Bell, for the winning points in the dramatic come-from-behind 20-16 Alabama victory. But Tennessee can counter with quarterback Tony Robinson, who just 3 weeks ago combined with All-American wideout Tim McGee to lead the upstart Volunteers to a stunning victory over then top-ranked Auburn 38-20. Coming up next, a battle for the inside track to the Sugar Bowl. Tennessee versus Alabama.
Network Television presents Super Football Saturday. Today, an SEC battle between two nationally ranked teams, the Tennessee Volunteers and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. For a thorough test drive, just call your nearest BMW dealer. By Coors Light, there's no slowing down the silver bullet. And by Gulf, the station with one low price, cash or credit.
Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama, the two winningest teams in the history of the Southeastern Conference, Tennessee and Alabama. 75,808 will pack into Legion Field today. It's going to be slightly overcast, temperatures right about 80 degrees, a beautiful day for college football. Hi, everybody, this is Bob Neal, along with Tim Foley. And Tim, when you talk about this game today, you've got to talk about the two quarterbacks. First of all, from Tennessee, they call him the gunslinger, out of Leon High in Tallahassee, Tony Robinson, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, and I think a contender for the Heisman Trophy.
I don't think there's any question about it, Bob. After the UCLA game, you had to talk about Tony Robinson. A big arm, can get the ball down the field, very heady player, calls 75% of his plays at the line of scrimmage. The problem for the defense that he presents, though, is his ability to scramble upfield. He has Tennessee's longest run this year, 39 yards.
Good news for Alabama is that their best pass rusher, their best defensive player, Cornelius Bennett, many people think he's the best linebacker in the country, is back from injury.
Could have made a big difference last week against Penn State. He's a dominating type of player. Tennessee has to be aware of that, where that young man lines up on every play, and he's going to put the heat on Robinson.
I like to call Mike Shula, the Alabama quarterback, Mike the Mind Shula, because he's so heady and so experienced for his relative youth, and he's a different type of quarterback. More conservative, yet he's very effective, leads the nation in efficiency.
Well, I think their offense is generally more conservative, but he's got a barrel full of intangibles. He's got great leadership ability and also calls plays at the line of scrimmage that puts that Alabama offense in a position where it can be most productive. But he can throw the ball, as is displayed by the fact that he is #1 in the nation in passing efficiency.
I like to contrast the two defenses here, too. You have Alabama's bend but don't break and the ramblin', gamblin' Volunteers.
Tennessee is going to come after you a little bit stronger. They've got a young defense, only a senior on defense. Dale Jones, a big playmaker from the weak side position, and Alabama is going to be more conservative. They're going to force Tennessee to drive the football down the field on them.
Two good field goal kickers, Van Tiffen for Alabama and Carlos Revés for Tennessee. Tennessee, frankly, had punting problems last week, and their loss to Florida. Bob Garman had some problems. Johnny Major said he's confident in the youngster, though. And Chris Moore, the punter for Alabama, is a good one. The kicking game could play a big role in this game here at Legion Field today. We'll continue with Football Saturday and be right back here to Legion Field. But first, we're going to take these commercial timeouts and then go to our studios in Atlanta.
Battle.
Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you at Legion Field. The captains for both teams going to the middle of the field now. They will be surrounded by the bands from both teams. There is Johnny Majors in the center of your screen, leading the rest of the University of Tennessee team out to the center. We have the coin toss about to take place right now with the Alabama coin toss people are all the seniors who are captains, and here come the Volunteers onto the field. Tennessee 2-1-1, losing last week to Florida. They have that very big, important one loss in the SEC. This is a must game. Most feel that 2 losses cannot win the Southeastern Conference Championship. championship. Alabama is undefeated in the Southeastern Conference today, and of course they're looking down the road, know they have to play Auburn at the end of the year, and this too is a critical game for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But Johnny Majors feels this football team has played very well. He says we have a tough schedule. They had to open with UCLA. Alabama losing narrowly last week to Penn State. And the Crimson Tide, one of the best football teams in the country in terms of balance. They can throw well, run well, they play good defense. They may be a little bit suspect in the secondary, and that could certainly be something that could be exploited today by Tony Robinson of Tennessee. The coin toss about to take place. We'll be back to tell you who won the toss and who'll start on offense in just a moment. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. This series goes all the way back to 1901 in West End Park, right here in Birmingham, near Legion Field, when Alabama won 6-0. They lead in the series 34-26-7. Tennessee has a 3-game win streak going, and prior to that, Alabama had an 11-game win streak, and then prior to that, Tennessee had won 4. So it's been a streak series, and the big question here is, can the Volunteers continue with their 3-game winning streak? Ray Perkins' Crimson Tide hopes to put a stop to that this afternoon. The Tide, undefeated in the Southeastern Conference, but with a narrow loss to Penn State last week. I'd like to tell you about the coin toss. Alabama won the toss, deferred their choice till the second half. Tennessee will receive and go on offense to begin this game here today. The University of Tennessee Volunteers and the Crimson Tide of Alabama, one of the premier college football rivalries in the nation. Number 11, you see warming up on the sideline for Alabama, is Mike Shula, the junior, 6'2", 200 pounds from Miami. And yes, Mike Shula is the son of Don, as you've been told so many times before. Mike Shula played very little at the beginning of 1984 as you look at that comparison. But as you'll notice, he's played every snap here for Alabama this year in 5 games and has thrown only 14 more passes, but 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception. And Mike Shula leads the nation in passing efficiency as you look at the difference in his stats as his sophomore year and his junior year. Ray Perkins said Mike Shula is my quarterback when he went to spring training this year, and it's really helped bring this Tide team together. The man you just saw, who wears number 10, is Tony Gunslinger Robinson, a senior from Tallahassee, Florida, and he'll be going on offense to lead this Volunteer attack. Tony Robinson is 5th in efficiency, passing efficiency in the nation, I might add. Number 36 is Pete Panuska. He will be taking the kickoff from Van Tippen. Slight breeze here today. However, it's swirling on the field and shouldn't have any big effect on this ball game unless the wind picks up. Van Tippen's kickoff is going to carry Panuska back to the back of the end zone. And out of the end zone it goes, and the Volunteers will set up their offense on the 20-yard line. Tony Robinson, he's thrown for over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, heads this Tennessee offense. A freshman, 28, Keith Davis, starts at tailback today. He's a breakaway threat for Tennessee. McGee, Swanson, and Clinkscales will swap at the wide receivers positions. They have 3 very good ones. Jeff Smith, at the bottom of your screen, is the tight end. Best offensive lineman, perhaps, is number 68, Bruce Wilkinson, the left tackle for the University of Tennessee. First play from the line of scrimmage from Legion Field in Birmingham. Going to give to the freshman. About 8 yards for Keith Davis. A freshman from Nashville, tackled by 58 Wayne Davis. And that Crimson Tide bend but don't break defense. These fellas don't break or bend much here. John Hand, Kurt Jarvis, Brent Soule, really the heart and soul, excuse the pun, of that Alabama defense. The linebackers are excellent too. The outside, Randy Rockwell, Cornelius Bennett back from the injury, and in the inside they're solid. Some suspects in the secondary. We'll see plans to take advantage of that. Second down to Tennessee. First down, Tennessee. William Howard, the 225-pound fullback, number 35, with the first down for the Volunteers.
Bob, starting off, Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, is giving his cornerbacks some help. Obviously, threatened a little bit by the passing skills of Tony Robinson and his big threat wide receivers. And Tennessee's going to try to run the ball at him, I think, to draw those linebackers back in.
A lot of pre-snap motion by Tennessee, and you'll see Tony Robinson calling a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage today. Third straight running penalty. Keith Davis, a little bit of running room. Davis to the 41-yard line, a gain of about 5 yards before Wayne Davis, number 58, the inside linebacker, makes the stop for Ray Perkins, Crimson Tide.
Ray Perkins feels this team is special. He says that over and over again. Feels like it's not got the great players, with the exception of Cornelius Bennett. but a lot of character throughout the squad.
It is 2nd down 6 from the 41-yard line of Tennessee. 3 wide receivers in. Typical passing play for Tennessee, but they're going to run it again. They hand it off to Howard, the fullback, who stumbles and gets only a couple of yards. So Tennessee electing to keep it on the ground, and Tim, as you say, it may be because that's what Alabama's defense is giving them thus far.
I think so. Randy Rockwell is spreading out. He's out in the position where he can jam the wide receiver. I think they're a little bit concerned about Britt Cooper on the corner going one-on-one against Eric Swanson or Timmy McGee.
3 wideouts again. 3rd down 4 from the 43. It's complete to Clinkscales. He's close to the 1st down. Tackled by 21, Freddie Robinson. It'll depend on the mark of the football. Tony Robinson signaling to the sideline that there is a 1st down, and so does the referee. 1st down, Tennessee.
You get a chance to watch this again. This ball should never have been completed. Basically, it was thrown against a 2-deep, 5-short zone, which meant the cornerback should have been up close in that flat area. Robinson makes the read. Look at that. He gets it out there in a hurry. I don't think we can blame Freddie Robinson too much for not breaking that ball up, because you saw the velocity with Tony fired the football.
1st down 10. Tennessee at the 47-yard line of the Volunteers. Opening drive for Tennessee. Opening quarter of play from Legion Field in Birmingham. Robinson goes down. Number 79, Brent Soule, broke through and got him right up the middle. That's something that rarely happens to Tony Robinson, but it's something that Perkins Tide has to do. A loss of 11 yards if they're going to contain this great quarterback.
We're watching Bennett now work against Bruce Wilkerson, and this is going to be a great matchup all day. As you can see, he's getting help from number 75, John Bruin. Cornelius Bennett is a load to handle one-on-one, and they'll try to have 2 men on him as much as they can.
You see that Alabama's defense is tough in the opening quarter. They have not allowed a touchdown. Tennessee now with a 2nd 21 from the 36-yard line. In this direction, they hand the ball to 32, Charles Wilson, from Pritchard, Alabama, by the way. Tennessee moved it out here very easily. As we say, that happens so many times with this Alabama defense. We saw Vanderbilt move up and down the field, but not into the end zone.
There's a little difference in the defensive philosophies of both these coaches. As you mentioned in the opening, Bob, Tennessee is going to put pressure on Alabama. They're a little bit more of a risk-taking defense. They feel they have to be a little bit more resourceful. Alabama's going to be conservative.
3rd down 22 from the 35-yard line. Robinson, 4-man rush. Robinson in a lot of trouble. Down he goes at the 27-yard line, and listen to this Legion Field crowd.
This is what Alabama has to have as you watch Hand working against Wilkerson. They flush Robinson out of the pocket. Bennis comes in for the kill, but a nice job by the Alabama secondary. Good drops by their linebackers. Good deep drops that prevented Robinson from throwing that intermediate cut that he was looking for.
Here's Bob Garman, who had trouble punting last week, only averaging 38 yards. He's punting to Albert Bell, number 1, at his 31. Bell to the 38-yard line. Good field position for Alabama. Last week against Florida, the Gators started on an average drive at their 38. It's something Johnny Majors said he hoped to avoid today, but field position could play a role. There is a penalty marker on the field. That was a 42-yard punt and a 9-yard return by Albert Bell of Alabama. The referee, Robert Aylett, talking to the University of Tennessee captain. Sellout crowd. 10:16 to go, quarter number 1, scoreless game. Waiting to see what happens with the committee meeting down there. There was a penalty marker. They may be deciding which team was in possession at the time. Personal foul, face mask, is the call. Against who, we don't know, but Robert Aylett will, we hope, eventually let us know. Normally, the face mask would be against the team defending, and that could be Tennessee, and it is. The mark-off tacked on. To the 46-yard line of Tennessee, a very big mark-off.
Dead ball foul, face mask, defensive team, 1st down.
15-yard penalty on that face mask, Bob. I didn't see it.
Well, we're going to take a commercial timeout here. We'll be back where Alabama has excellent field position at the Tennessee 46-yard line. This is Turner Network Television. For Alabama, Mike Shula will lead the way offensively. Mike Shula leads the nation in passing efficiency. He has thrown 7 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. As a matter of fact, this Alabama offensive team, as you look at the rest of their starting lineup, has committed only 3 turnovers all year. 1 interception and 2 fumbles. Hard to believe that they've only turned the ball over 3 times. First down 10 from the 46 of Tennessee. Shula's going to throw. Batted down at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. He was looking for Bobby Humphrey out of the backfield. I think Fred Bennett, number 95, the middle guard, got a hand on the ball for the Tennessee Volunteers. There's that Tennessee defense. Scott, Bennett, Mark Hovanek. Hovanek, a good pass rusher. There for the linebacker position, Brian Kimbrough playing for the injured Tyrone Robinson. Dale Jones, the big playman, number 54. You'll be seeing a lot of him today. You'll also see a lot of number 7, Chris White. He's around the ball a great deal, the free safety for Tennessee. For Alabama, second down 10. From the 46 of the Volunteers, scoreless football game. Bell in motion. Here's Humphrey. The 42-yard line of Tennessee. Freshman Bobby Humphrey from Birmingham grew up in the shadows of Legion Field.
Last year when Alabama played Boston College in their opener, Bobby Humphrey was selling Cokes over in section 42. And now here he is, starting for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
His high school is right near here, too. Ray Perkins said, yeah, I spend a lot of time in this neighborhood recruiting that young man. Happy he did. Third down 6, Alabama at the 42 of Tennessee. Scoreless game, first quarter. Shula try his second pass of the day. Incomplete, looking for Humphrey. Thrown high, would have been a tough catch, covered by number 7, Chris White. So Shula's 0 for 2 throwing the football, something you rarely see. And you also, something you rarely see is Shula throwing more passes than Robinson. Tony Robinson's only thrown once. Alabama can't convert and can't make anything really happen out of excellent field position. Their punter is Chris Moore, a freshman from Thompson, Georgia, and there is number 1, Andre Kramer. He broke a kickoff return against Alabama last year that played a big role in Tennessee's come-from-behind victory. It looks like it's going into the end zone. And does for the touchback. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. A 42-yard punt by Chris Moore, and the Volunteers will go on offense for the second time this afternoon. This could be a defensive struggle, even though Tennessee's explosive offensively. We'll see what Robinson and company have in mind when we return. Became severely depressed as his alma mater trails Ohio State by 2 touchdowns. They'll come back. They're playing well this year.
Just letting them feel good for a while, setting them up.
Tennessee, from their own 20-yard line, dodged a field position bullet when Alabama failed to convert. Had the ball first and 10 at Tennessee's 46. Tennessee continuing to run the ball out to the 25-yard line. William Howard is hit by 58 Wayne Davis. Davis' 3rd tackle of this young game. A couple of other scores. Notre Dame leading 20th ranked Army 7-0. When was the last time Army was ranked above Notre Dame? Well, of course, a lot of rumors about Jerry Faust and him needing to win the next 2 games to keep the job. There you see the other scores from the ACC. Second down 5 from the 25, Tennessee. They're going to run it again to the freshman Keith Davis. He gets to the 27-yard line and not much further, bringing up another conversion play. This freshman Davis has stepped in here and taken the starting tailback position. Pete Panuska had been playing that role, some Charles Wilson also. But Keith Davis is the kind of runner who just stepped in, and they say probably running back is the quickest position for a young man to be able to break into a game because it's just pure talent.
Right, it is. And it's just that they've got the skill, and it's just a matter of understanding the blocking schemes.
Third down 3, Tennessee, out of the eye. 3 wide receivers in the game. Pitch to Davis. Needs a block and gets it. First down. To the 40-yard line goes the freshman, Randy Rockwell, number 57, with the stop for Alabama. So Tennessee moving the ball, but remember, this happened on the first drive, and it was right about here where Tennessee stalled.
We're going to watch the Tennessee receivers block on this play. It's something that you don't often see. Receivers don't get involved in the contact on a lot of football teams, but for Tennessee, they talk about that a lot. Kippy Brown, the receiver coach, stresses that, and they do a fine job with it. Charles Wilson also got a good block on the play.
There's a 13-yard run by Davis. Robinson's going upstairs, looking for McGee. It's picked off, the first interception of the year for this Alabama secondary, down at the 8.5-yard line. 21, Freddie Robinson with the ball.
Good protection here by the Tennessee line. Robinson gets it off. It's a little bit underthrown. And Freddie Robinson is running down with Timmy McGee. Goes up well for the football. He's going to be to the wide side of the field a lot today. Look at that. Good job by the defensive back going up and making the catch. So often you see the receiver come over at the top and take it away from the defender. Can't maintain his footing, but a fine play, and I'm sure a confidence builder for the secondary, which was concerned about not having one interception going into this football game.
Field position, however, puts Alabama in a hole at the 8.5-yard line for young Mike Shula. He has 3 wide receivers in there on a first down 10. Only about a couple of yards for fullback Craig Turner. Turner and Humphrey will play most of the way at the running back positions, but Alabama has some other strong backs too. Chester Braggs, Murray Hill, Gene Jelks, Mike Bobo. We'll see probably 6 or 7 Alabama backs before this game ends.
Tennessee's secondary is doing an excellent job, Bob, of disguising their coverages. They're not letting Mike Shula see what they're in until the ball is being snapped.
Second down 8 from the 11. Scoreless game, first quarter. Bobby Humphrey to the 14-yard line. And down goes the freshman. There's Tony Robinson. Robinson 1 out of 2 for only 5 yards, and of course he threw that interception.
He's on the phone with his mentor, Walt Harris. Walt coached at Illinois, coached Steve Wilson and Tony Eason.
Maybe Tony was placing a call to the other Robinson, Freddie.
That's it, Freddie. Good play.
Freddie says, Tony, I already answered your call. Third down 5 from the 14-yard line. In motion out of the backfield, Bobby Humphrey. Shula, the shovel pass. The Turner, the fullback. Shy of, well, excuse me, he got the first down. He's shy of the 20, but he got enough for the first down, depending on the spot of the ball. There's Craig Turner. He's a senior from Gaithersburg, Maryland, and a very dependable back. Often that means that he's not that good. That's not the story with Turner. He is, in fact, dependable. He's a good receiver and a good blocker. They may have to bring the sticks in here. It'll all depend on the spot of the ball. Looks like he got it to me.
Looks like he got a good effort by Craig Turner to get it. He was hit about 2 yards short of the first down marker. He's got the first down. Shovel pass, a very effective pass for the offense. The linebacker is watching the quarterback. As the quarterback moves past the fullback, the linebacker now thinks, get depth. And as he begins to do that, of course, the quarterback just pops the ball up to the fullback, kind of a delayed draw, and the fullback's got more room to move in.
And remember, if he drops it, it's simply an incomplete pass. First down 10 from the 19. Here's Humphrey. Tough yardage over there on the right side, about 3 or 4. Tommy Sims, number 16, coming up from the safety position. Tennessee will play Davis, White, Sims a lot at the safety. They rotate 3 guys in there. And Humphrey, by the way, we're speaking of freshman Bobby Humphrey. Of course, Alabama would like to have been playing Kerry Good in that position, but Good was injured again and had to have surgery on his knee once again. He's going to be out at least 4 more weeks. He was freshman of the year in the SEC, has been injury-plagued since then. We wish that young man well. Second down 5 from the 24. Nothing going this time. Gain of maybe 1 for Humphrey. Mark Hovanek from Yorktown, Virginia, with the tackle for Tennessee.
Ray Perkins started his coaching career at Mississippi State, went to the Patriots and then the San Diego Chargers, and then was tabbed by George Young, one of the fine minds in professional football, the general manager of the New York Giants, to lead his Giant football team. And then taking the job at Alabama, doing a great job.
7 ties in this series. The average score in the last 4 years has been 32-31. First down run by Humphrey. He was tackled by 16, Tommy Sims. We're going to our studios in Atlanta now for this college football update.
Army with the ball. Second play of the game. Quarterback Torrey Crawford pitches to William Lampley. He fumbles the pitch. Cornell Taylor later scored. Notre Dame goes on top. If they had great field position, 7-0.
Well, Tim, they should have tried the shovel pass, and that wouldn't have been a fumble. First down 10, Alabama. At the 29-yard line. They started this drive after the interception at the 8.5. Out of the eye, Shula to throw. Wide open, Greg Richardson. Down at the 45 of Alabama. Charlie Davis with the stop for Tennessee, number 22, and Mike Shula put that one on the money for a 16-yard gain. He's now 2 out of 4 throwing the ball.
Watch Humphrey. You see Humphrey running out of your screen to the right. They've got a quick screen set up on the right, and it's an option for Mike Shula. If he can't get it into Richardson, dump it out to Humphrey. He saw enough daylight to throw it into Richardson and put it right on the numbers.
By the way, there's Greg Richardson playing a little bit hurt, but he's a clutch receiver for Alabama. We're going to try to be talking to Mike's dad, Don, who's watching down in Miami at halftime, if that works out. Craig Turner running on the right side for about 4 out near the midfield stripe for the fullback. Tim Foley's favorite coach, I know, is Don Shula.
Ray Perkins played for Don Shula while he was at Baltimore. Old Perk. Caught a lot of footballs in an Alabama jersey. Still holds the record for most yards receiving in the Orange Bowl and in the Sugar Bowl.
2nd down 6 from the 49-yard line. The Tide driving from their 8.5. Here's Bobby Humphrey. Tennessee pursuing well, but look at that young man cut against the grain. Inside Volunteer territory, about 3 yards short of the first down. Fred Bennett and Tommy Sims with the stop.
The man that makes the play here is Dale Jones, number 54. Watch this. Watch him take on the guard, stuff the guard, stay parallel to the line of scrimmage, get rid of the blocker, and now get to the football. Turns the play back in. Doesn't actually make the tackle, but fine play by Dale Jones.
It's 3rd down 3 from the 48-yard line of Tennessee. 3:09 to go, quarter number 1, scoreless ball game. Albert Bell in motion. And contact at the line of scrimmage. That was 95 Fred Bennett with the contact. Once that line is set, the center cannot move the ball again. Sometimes it's against the center for moving it. We'll see. Offsides, Tennessee. Nope, the guilty finger of justice points at Fred Bennett. We're going to pause 5 seconds for station identification. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you from Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama. 3:09 to go. Quarter number 1. Alabama nothing, Tennessee nothing.
Defensive offside. First down.
That was enough for the first down. They spot the ball at the 43 of Tennessee, and Alabama continues this drive.
Kind of credit Mike Shula for that one, that voice inflection, the ability to draw the defense offside.
Hand off to the fullback, Turner. Nowhere to go. Maybe a yard. Kelly Ziegler, one of the inside linebackers for Tennessee. Tennessee's linebackers starting this game are Dale Jones on the outside and Brian Kimbrough with Ziegler and Darren Miller in the middle.
Kelly Ziegler, he's out of Miami, Florida. Went to Palmetto High School. Played down there for Jess Davis.
They're replacing Tolles and Zander. They were about as good a pair of inside linebackers as we saw last year, Tim.
And they're both playing in the NFL now.
2nd down 8. Alabama from the 41 of Tennessee. Shula under pressure, gets it away to Turner. Turner hit at the 40 and stopped shy of the 40-yard line. Tommy Sims playing Craig Turner very well out of the backfield, and good pressure by Dale Jones. He was just all over Mike Shula.
Well, Jones is blitzing on this play. You're going to see him coming in from your left to the right. Just a play action coming out there, in a sense, naked. Knows that if it's a blitz, guy has to get rid of it right away. That's one that Shula has to read.
Big conversion play for Alabama here. 3rd down 8 from the 41 of Tennessee. 5 defensive backs in for the Volunteers. The 12th play of this drive, which started at the 8.5-yard line of Alabama. Shula with an audible at the line. Tennessee blitzing. Shula throwing. Incomplete. And the Alabama drive stalls at the 41-yard line of Tennessee. Clay Whitehurst was the intended receiver. He was being covered by 14 Terry Brown.
Tennessee's giving them a little bit different look on defense. They're doubling the wide receiver, Albert Bell, and then they're leaving Tommy Sims open in the middle to pick up that check down route or that slant in route that Swanson was trying to run.
There's Chris Moore. Chris Moore's a freshman from Thompson, Georgia. He's had a good year punting, 42 yards on his first one, trying to get this one out of bounds. He does not. Punts it in and out of the end zone from the 41, so we'll credit him with a 41-yard punt. We'll be back in just a moment. We're in the first quarter with only 1:26 remaining. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
In that Notre Dame Army game, it's Steve Berline, Notre Dame's quarterback, hitting Tim Brown on a 19-yard touchdown pass all alone in the end zone. There was a missed coverage, and Bob Neal, even you could have caught that one. It's 14-0, Notre Dame over Army.
Alec Hawkins, you probably don't know that I lead the NCAA college broadcasters in receiving for the 3rd straight year. First down 10 from the 20-yard line, scoreless ball game. Tennessee ball. They hand it to freshman Keith Davis again. Good cut. First down to the 33-yard line. And this freshman Keith Davis is a workhorse. That's his 5th carry of the day, and he's got nearly 40 yards.
Tennessee's lining up with 3 wide receivers. They're running to the side of the 2 wide receivers. Randy Rockwell is kind of stretched out. You see him trying to fight his way back into the play. Now they're going to have to make a decision. If they continue to run the ball like that, they're going to have to bring Randy Rockwell closer to the ball.
First down 10 from the 33. They give it to Keith Davis again to about the 36-yard line. This freshman is 6 feet tall, 190, which is really almost the prototype size for a tailback. He's big enough, and there's Smokey, the Blue Tick Hound mascot for the Tennessee Volunteers. Second down 7 from the 36-yard line. Volunteers. 3 wideouts in the game now for Tennessee. Audible at the line. Clinkscales, whoa, couldn't hold on to it, and Freddie Robinson had an opportunity for an interception with nothing but green in front of him, but the ball was tipped out of bounds and goes incomplete. So this Tennessee passing game isn't exactly untracked. Robinson 1 out of 4 for only 5 yards and 1 interception thus far.
Good job in the secondary by Alabama. They've got a good scheme. You don't permit a touchdown to be scored from you against you, in the first quarter without having good coaching and good preparation. There you see Ronnie Zook. He's the defensive secondary coach for Tennessee, talking to his players. 3rd and 7 from the 36.
Alabama with a rush right up the middle. Screen to the left side to Wilson. To the 45-yard line. He's close enough for a Tennessee first down. First down, Volunteers. Good run after the catch by the sophomore from Pritchard, Alabama.
And a good block by Joey Clinkscales. Kind of freed up Davis, permitted him to get that yardage. Bruin and Galbraith out front of that play. As you see Johnny Majors. He's got himself a fine football team this year. A lot of senior talent on offense.
From the 45-yard line of Tennessee, first down 10 ball. Scoreless game. Closing moments of the first quarter. Keith Davis. That's a good block. He gets about 4 yards out near midfield. As we come to the end of the first quarter at Legion Field in Birmingham. 75,808. They are jammed in here today for one of the premier football rivalries in the nation. This is Turner Network Television. For our stations along the line, we've missed commercial position 6, and our next commercial will be number 7. And we'll make up the missed spot in the next quarter. Scoreless ball game. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you from Legion Field in Birmingham, Tennessee, and Alabama. Keith Davis hit in backfield. Oh, and buddy, he was hit. John Hand weighs 275, stands 6'7", a senior from Sylacauga, and he'll be a first-round draft choice in the pros.
He is a big fella. Saw him the other night in Dreamland, getting some ribs. Obviously got some energy out of those ribs. Stuck it to Keith Davis, beat the job of the Tennessee offensive lineman, made it stop.
I'd say he got some ribs there, the ribs of Keith Davis. And speaking of Dreamland, Keith, he was hit. 3rd down 8 from the 47, Tennessee. Good protection for Robinson. Dumps it to Keith Davis. Look at his speed for the freshman. Out of bounds at the 28-yard line of Alabama. Ricky Thomas chasing Davis out of bounds. That was a 25-yard reception and run for the freshman, having himself a good game. He wasn't hurt that much by the tackle.
I think this is what scares the defensive coaches the most, Bob. His ability to maneuver in the pocket, buy time, gets it to Keith Davis, breaks the perimeter of the defense to the wide side of the field, and if it's not great hustle by Ricky Thomas, might have gone all the way.
Definitely Tennessee's deepest penetration. They had to punt the first time, threw an interception last time. From the 28, first down 10. Here's Charles Wilson. Inside the 20 to the 19-yard line goes the sophomore, 32, Charles Wilson, who's alternating with Keith Davis out of the backfield, the tailback spot.
What Tennessee is doing is pulling two linemen to the side of the two receivers. McGee is doing a good job of getting in the path of Randy Rockwell, preventing him from closing it down tight. So they're getting those 6-8 yard gains.
Second down 2 at the 20. Robinson up with a audible. Sometimes he calls a whole new play. Sometimes he just checks off a pattern or something. He does that a lot. Oh, in trouble. Incomplete, short hopped, intended for number 9, Vince Carter, but that's something that Tony Robinson does so well. There was great pressure by 78 John Hand, but it's hard to get a hand on Tony Robinson.
This time Freddie Robinson, the cornerback, set him up a little bit, lined up a little bit deeper. Robinson felt like he could get that quick out in there, that quick pop. When the ball was snapped, Freddie was coming and prevented Robinson from throwing the ball. He had to bring it back down and was fortunate to avoid a sack.
Big conversion here. Tennessee's 4 out of 5 on third down. It's third down 2 at the 20 of Alabama. They're going to run the ball. They give it to big fullback Howard. It's close. I don't know if he got it or not. They need to go to the 18-yard line. There's William Howard, who's a sophomore from Lima, Ohio. Alternates at fullback with big Sam Henderson. They're going to bring the sticks into measure. It's very close. If Tennessee has to go for a field goal, they have a very good young kicker by the name of Carlos Revés, who's replacing his brother, Fuad, who was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. There you see the measurement. It's short by about 3-4 inches. Johnny Majors has elected to go for it on fourth down at the 18.5-yard line. Critical play in the early moments of the second quarter. Johnny Majors gambling at the 18.5-yard line of Alabama. The crowd getting into it now.
Gotta feel like they like Wilkerson in short yardage, but they're also going to be conscious of where Cornelius Bennett lines up.
Did he get it? Robinson says yes. Tennessee fans say yes. Alabama fans say no. Johnny Majors said, I'll wait and see. William Howard carried the ball. Henderson and Panuska and Davis were back there with him.
You saw what happened there, Bob. They went on a long count. They tried to get it for free. Robinson tried to jump the Alabama defense. Good job by Alabama watching the ball, not jumping off sides.
Here come the sticks. I'll stretch it out, and you'll get a good view if we can get those guys to move their legs there. You see Tony Robinson with his sweatbands around his ankles. His ankle's about the size of a lot of people's wrists. Here it comes. First down by the nose of the ball. Let's take a look at it.
Robinson's at the line of scrimmage, barking out the signals. The offensive linemen fire out. Good penetration by the Alabama defense. It's hard to play it any better than that. Joe Godwin coming over the top. Good job by both teams on that play. First down, Tennessee.
We saw 4 or 5 fourth down gambles in our FSU Auburn telecast last week, and now we've seen one early in the second quarter here that paid off for Johnny Majors. 1st and 10 from the 18. Here's Keith Davis. What an excellent job of running the ball for the young freshman. Down to the 7.5-yard line. He was tackled by 20 Britton Cooper and 57 Randy Rockwell. Right in front of the Tennessee cheering section. Missouri out in front of Nebraska. Everything going right for Missouri these days with the World Series, and now they're leading Nebraska early. Ohio State handling Purdue 17-0 second quarter. How about that one? The Ragin' Cajuns at Gainesville, Florida are handing the Gators a standoff in the second quarter. Here, first down goal from the 8 for Tennessee. Scoreless game, second quarter.
Robinson changing the play. Alabama calling timeout.
Wisely so. It was Cornelius Bennett who looked to the sideline and did that. Bennett definitely the leader of that Alabama defensive team. Johnny Majors will have a chance to think it over a little bit too. It's first and goal from the 8. We'll be right back.
Minnesota with the ball, first score of the game. Quarterback Ricky Foggy to Valdez Baylor, who waits for his blocks, then goes wide. Minnesota on top of Indiana, 7-0. Back to Bob and Tim.
Here at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. It's 1st and goal from the 8 for Tennessee. They started at their 20. This is the 13th play of the drive. Looking for Clinkscales. He was hit in the end zone. Clinkscales was hit by the defensive back. 34, Ricky Thomas, and penalty markers went down. Looks like Alabama defensive pass interference in the end zone. They're looking for Clinkscales. Robinson just threw a, I don't know, Tim, what do you call that? A fade?
That's correct. Very good.
Thank you.
Basically what that means, the wide receiver just trying to fade to the corner of the end zone. No really described cutter route, just run away from the defensive back. Clinkscale starting to wait for the ball. The defensive back at that point is beat. What he should try to do is get his head and shoulders around, locate the football.
Here's the announcement on the penalty. Ray Perkins unhappy, of course.
Defensive pass interference. First down.
Inside the 20-yard line, they spot that ball at the 2-yard line on defensive pass interference because obviously they can't give them the 15-yard penalty from the 8. So instead of half the distance, they take it to the 2-yard line. There it is, 1st and goal, Tennessee. Scoreless game, 12 minutes to go, 2nd quarter. Double tight ends for the Volunteers. They give it to the fullback. It's William Howard to about the half-yard line. Denied the goal line, but he's about a half a yard away. It'll be 2nd down goal. This Alabama defense has, we say they're the bend but don't break. They've bent as far as they'll be allowed to bend now. No breaking allowed inside the 1. They spotted at the 1, by the way.
He played well all year, Bob. Joe Kynes and his assistants have done a nice job with the Alabama defense, especially considering Cornelius Bennett has not been available with the exception of the first game.
Davis and Henderson in the eye. Wilson now lines up as a wing for a power formation. And there's timeout for Tennessee. Don't say this isn't a big game to everybody. The nerves are on edge for the coaches, the players, and the fans. We'll be right back. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. Mail your check or money order for $7 to Football Record Book in Birmingham. 1st and goal, 2nd and goal from the 1, Tennessee. Davis in motion. Here's a pitch to Wilson. Touchdown, Volunteers. An 80-yard drive for the Volunteers. They started at their 20. First score in this ball game, Tennessee 6, Alabama nothing. Carlos Reveiz is in for the point after attempt.
Big play, Bob, was a little check down to Keith Davis. He caught it and went a long way. It should have been a 6-yard gain. He turned it into about a 30-yarder.
Point after is good. 7-0. Tennessee had control of the ball for 5 minutes and 14 seconds on that drive. We'll be back to Legion Field in Birmingham right after this. Tony Robinson directed these Volunteers on an 80-yard drive in 14 plays, and this is the scoring play.
See that hand coming out of the top right of your picture? They're changing a coverage. You get the defense thinking about something else instead of being aggressive, and here's what happens. Dave Douglas, a good block. Harry Galbraith, nice block there. Leading the way. Knocking Alabama back into the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee.
And they ran right past Cornelius Bennett, who was kicked out of there with a good block. Here's Reveiz for the kickoff. Tennessee leads 7-0, 11-12 to go, first half of play. Reveiz was knocked quite as strong a leg as his brother, but that's pretty strong. To the back of the end zone goes Bobby Humphrey. He'll touch it down, and Alabama trailing now will take over the ball for the third time this afternoon. They went 4 yards on their first possession, 50 on their second one, but both times had to punt the ball. There's the scoring drive details for you. Tennessee fans in a corner of Legion Field, right behind the graphic you see on your screen there. They can raise a lot of ruckus. I read the newspaper here. They love to see them come to Birmingham. They say the Volunteers buy more souvenirs than anybody in the conference. Murray Hill, 45, and 44, Craig Turner, in running back for Alabama now. There's Murray Hill, the freshman, to the 31-yard line. Murray Hill from Atmore, Alabama. Only 5'8". He's a water bug type runner, tackled by 16 Tommy Sims.
They have got some fantastic freshman running backs at Alabama. Jelks, Hill, of course, Bobby Humphries. They're going to be solid there for the next 3 years.
It'll be first down 10, Alabama at the 31-yard line of the Crimson Tide. Slot left formation, backs in the eye. Murray Hill looked like he didn't know exactly where to go there. Let's see if he does now. He knows where to go this time. To the 42-yard line, the freshman. Kelly Ziegler, number 49, with a tackle. And Hill had made a move to the left and then lined back up in the eye, and then took the ball and ran to the right side for another first down.
Good job here by Thornton Chandler. Hill gives him a little juke. I think he was a little bit confused, but nice job by Chandler knocking out the linebacker to create that seam that Hill could slice up into.
Same formation, slot left. First down 10, Alabama at the 42 of the Tide this time. Tennessee leading 7-0. Here we go again with Hill. More running room. About 7 yards this time. Close to the midfield stripe. They'll spot it right near the 50-yard line, about the 49. Chris White, number 7, with the tackle for Tennessee.
At time, David Gilmer and Haas Johnson both got a nice block to the wide side of the field. Perkins looks on, one of the more intense coaches in the country, I'd say. Wouldn't you say, Bob?
Yes, I'd say.
He apologized for smiling the last time we had him on.
That's what Tim and I were talking to him down here at Legion Field when the Tide worked out yesterday. He says, ruins my image to see me smiling. He was happy with that win over Vanderbilt, of course. And it's first down, Alabama. They give to Craig Turner, 44, to fullback. He drives inside Tennessee territory. Alabama started this drive at their 20, and now the Tide driving very much in the same manner as Tennessee. And the Volunteers giving up about, 34 yards here early on this drive. Most of it running, most of it by Murray Hill, the freshman tailback. A lot of people wondered how badly damaged Alabama would be if Kerry Good could not play at tailback. And we've seen Humphrey and Hill, you see they haven't been that damaged. Here comes Hill again. This time hit behind the line. He struggles up to the line of scrimmage. Initial hit was Tommy Sims, who, by the way, number 16 for Tennessee, has 7 tackles already in this game out of the safety position.
That time the linebackers for Tennessee both did an excellent job of stringing the play out and preventing the running back from getting that north-south lane early. Gave the defensive back Sims a chance to get up in the play.
Hill has 4 carries for 29 yards. He's the leading rusher for Alabama so far. It's all been in this drive. Second down 10. 45 of Tennessee. Shula looking for Turner, incomplete. Turner out of the backfield had a little bit of running room close to the first down, but Shula just didn't have it right on his hands that time, and the one-handed attempt just didn't convert for Craig Turner. A good receiver coming out of the backfield. He had 7 catches coming into this game.
Ray Perkins talking to George Henshaw, the offensive coordinator, up in the booth. That time they picked a play pass. Tennessee's defense got good depth, took away the intermediate routes. Turner was open, and I'm sure Ray's going to ask him why he didn't use his left hand with his right hand in that attempted reception.
Third down 10. The Tide drive is stalled momentarily at the 45-yard line of Tennessee. Shula needs 10 here. He's going for a lot more. He has Richardson wide open at the 10. To the 1-foot line, Greg Richardson.
Looked like they were doubling Bell again. Richardson, just as Mike Shula let go of the football, Richardson was being bumped. There was a defensive back that ran right through Richardson on over to help Bell. I don't know if there was a mistake in the secondary, whether Kramer was expecting help to the inside. Looked like he was playing it that way. Great catch by Greg Richardson.
8 minutes to go, second quarter. Tennessee leads 7-0. Alabama, fullback Turner, touchdown, tied.
Fancy here. Alabama fires off the ball. Turner up in the air. Over the plane of the end zone. Touchdown.
Air Turner for Alabama. They pulled to within 1 of Tennessee, 7-6, with 8 minutes and 1 second remaining. Of course, the key play, that 44-yard pass reception to Greg Richardson. Van Tippen for the point after. Well, Alabama sure did counter. It's like two heavyweights slugging it out here. Point after's good. They just jabbed and bobbed and weaved in the first round. We come to the second round or second quarter here, and all of a sudden they're throwing haymakers. 2 80-yard drives, and we have a tie game at Legion Field in Birmingham. This is Turner Network Television. So we have a tie score, 7-7. Alabama took it 80 yards in 8 plays in 3 minutes 11 seconds to tie it up with that Turner 1-yard run. It wasn't a run, it was a dive. But the key play was to that man, 17, Greg Richardson, a 44-yard pass reception from the hand, the left hand of Mike Shula, who's 4 out of 8 for 66 yards now. And we've got ourselves a good one here in Birmingham today. Critical game for both teams, but particularly so for Tennessee, as the Volunteers already have 1 loss in the SEC, losing last week 17-10 to Florida. Here's Pete Penusca at the 3. To the 22 or 23-yard line. Last year, Tim McGee was the hero of the game when Tennessee came from behind. We talked to him about that and about Tennessee prior to the game.
They were playing the 2-deep zone, and they had an end walked out on me, and we seen a little open area, and we needed some big plays to get back in the game because we were down by a lot of points. And fortunately, Tony spotted me right on the sideline, and I was wide open, and things just clicked right there.
That was the touchdown that led the way to the comeback. Johnny Jones scored the winning touchdown for Tennessee on a come-from-behind in Knoxville last year. Tennessee on a 3-game winning streak, tied 7-7 here on the first down. Robinson throws as he's hit. That's Clinkscales. He may be out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Ricky Thomas dragged him out of bounds. Clinkscales couldn't get it into high gear. He got it in first and second, but he had a little trouble with third, and that's when he was hauled out of bounds. And he looks like he pulled up lame.
Quick screen out here to the wide receiver. Timmy McGee helping Wall off. You're going to see Dave Douglas, number 78, and number 76, Harry Galbraith out in front. Clinkscales slows down, trying to let the lineman get out in front of him and also try to get to the sideline.
He limped off the field. First down 10, Tennessee at the 45-yard line of Alabama. Here's Keith Davis picking his way. What an excellent run by the freshman, Ricky Thomas, with the tackle. There wasn't much there for number 28, but he picked his way through. There's Clinkscales. He looked like he pulled up with a cramp or something when he ran out of bounds.
Here comes Keith Davis limping off the field. Very fine, a run that you'd expect from an older running back. Just showed a lot of patience. Most players, as soon as they get to that hole, they take off, and he was just very patient, waiting for that guard to get up in front of him and follow him along. His Clinkscale, look at his ankle.
Left ankle. First down 10, Tennessee at the 31-yard line of Alabama. They give it to Charles Wilson. He dives inside the 30 to about the 27-yard line. Charles Wilson is a sophomore from Pritchard who's been alternating at that tailback position for Davis. But Keith Davis, starting his first game today, limped off to the sideline. They're looking at him. We'll get a report. Has been really the key runner for Tennessee. 68 yards and 10 carries as he went off. And there's Davis, 28. They're looking at him. Looks to be okay, just as a casual observer on the sideline. Wilson remains in it back. Second down 6, Volunteers at the 27 of Alabama. Alabama in that 3-4. They hand to the fullback, William Howard. who is about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. He needs to go to the 21. He got 2 or 3. Another Tennessee player is down here about the 24-yard line. And now a penalty marker is also down. A late flag was thrown substantially after the play. We have 6:27 remaining in the second quarter. It's Alabama 7, Tennessee 7. Tennessee with an 80-yard scoring drive. Alabama came right back with an 80-yard scoring drive. Both happened here in the second quarter. Since then, 3 Tennessee players have been shaken up. The player laying down there is 27, Eric Swanson, the other receiver. Swanson, McGee, and Clinkscales are the 3 wideouts that Tennessee depends on, and now 2 of them have been hurt in the last 3 plays.
For a wide receiver, Swanson is extremely aggressive. You know, there's some folks say that wide receivers don't have, you know, much courage. That some of them are still in the land of Oz looking for their heart. But Swanson leads this football team in intimidating blocks, so he might have been in there throwing himself around and jammed his neck or something.
He looks okay. He's up walking off, as you can see, under his own power. He's 5'11", 185, a senior from San Bernardino, California. They're calling Tennessee wide receiver U. They've sent so many players to the pro ranks at University of Tennessee. Johnny Majors has coached them all over the place, but you know a bunch of them. Willie Galt playing for the Bears, Stanley Morgan with the Patriots, Clyde Duncan with the Cardinals, Anthony Hancock, Mike Miller, Darrell Wilson. The list goes on and on. 3rd down 4. And contact at the line on a quarterback draw. Robinson dives for the first down. By the way, there was a penalty marker down there, we said, and the official picked it up prior to that play, so there was no call on the play. There was contact before the snap. Robinson got enough yardage for the first down.
What will happen in that situation, Bob, as the official explains the offsides call?
They're calling procedure against Tennessee. It was 3rd and 4. They'll tag 5 on and make a 3rd and 9. Let's just watch it again.
Robinson jumps Alabama. And often the center will snap the ball when a defender penetrates the neutral zone.
Offense, still 3rd down.
And unless the official saw something we didn't see, we'll have to agree with Johnny Majors on that one.
Not very happy about the call. Tennessee now goes from a 3rd and 4 and what would have been a first down to a 3rd down 9. They move the ball back to the 30-yard line. 6:03 to go. Second quarter, tied at 7. Robinson looks right, throws left, incomplete. He was trying to find Wesley Pryor, number 23. Who's in there in place of the injured Swanson and the injured Clinkscales. By the way, we understand, and Tennessee doesn't convert, we understand that Clinkscales has injured his left ankle, but will probably play again, according to the report from the sideline. So Tennessee has it 4th down 9 at the 30, and they send in Carlos Revés for a 47-yard field goal attempt.
We're going to give Britt Cooper credit for doing a good job of coverage on that last play, forcing this field goal.
Plenty of leg on that one. It's wide to the left side, and the game remains tied. So the youngster Carlos Revés misses wide to the left side, and it's tied at 7-7. For all of our stations along the line, we will now make up commercial position number 6. Tennessee and Alabama remain tied 7-7. Revés missed a 47-yarder. That's the first time he's missed inside the 49-yard line all year long. And Mike Shula comes in here, 4 out of 8 for 66 yards. Johnny Majors wishing maybe brother Fuad was still kicking for Tennessee instead of Miami right now. Tennessee gets about 2 or 3 yards off the right side, not much more. Murray Hill, the ball carrier.
Both these teams have a Dolphin connection. Of course, Fuad with the Dolphins, and Alabama has been good to the Dolphins. As you see, Ray Perkins talking to Cornelius Bennett, Tony Nathan, Bob Baumhauer, Don McNeil, Dwight Stevenson, all have made major contributions to the Dolphins' success.
Alabama, 2nd down 8 at the 32-yard line of the tie. 5:16 to go, first half. Shula rifles it in, incomplete, intended for Clay Whitehurst, the sophomore from Nashville, Tennessee. Couldn't hold on to it. There's the Tennessee offensive unit on the sideline.
Can't see who that is talking to him, Bob. I don't know if that's Phil Fulmer down there or no, it's Cutcliffe. Dave Cutcliffe. Trying to get some things squared away.
3rd down 8, Alabama from the 32. This is that pro set formation. Split backs, wide receivers out wide to the left and right side, and 1 tight end. Shula has a man wide open. Whitehurst, nice grab, 1st down. Out to the 48-yard line. Clay Whitehurst catches it this time.
We're going to see the defensive secondary for Tennessee. Look at them move right before the snap. They're still not into it yet. They move into a double zone. 5 short zones, 2 deep zones. The man that makes a mistake is on the left-hand side of your screen. He sucks up on the short ball, permitting Shula to hit Whitehurst in behind him for the 1st down.
Alabama out here to good field position now to their own 48, and Shula's going to wing it again. It's picked off. Number 22 with the ball is Charlie Davis. Down at the 39-yard line. The junior from New Paltz, New York, picks off Shula after the ball was tipped and returned it 12 yards. I believe it was tipped by Terry Brown, and he was looking for Thornton Chandler, the tight end, number 81, as we take a look at it again. Big turnover.
We watched Ron Zook's Tennessee secondary again, tries to throw that zone pattern to Chandler. This time he's a little late on it. He has been successful. We saw him against Vanderbilt, against Penn State, was successful getting the ball to Chandler. This time the ball is a little late. A risky throw, tip, interception, Charlie Davis.
1st down 10 Volunteers from their own 39-yard line. Robinson calling play at the line, repositioning his backs, and he hands off to the fullback. About 3 yards for Charles Wilson. Actually, the tailback playing out of a split back position. Might mention that that's only the 2nd interception of the year for Mike Shula and only the 4th turnover for Alabama, as their goal this year was to play mistake-free football and have done it most of the time. 2nd down 7 from the 42 for the Vols now. 3 wideouts in there for Tennessee. They give for the up man on the eye. That was Charles Wilson, who's playing the fullback position. You see Davis, the man with the interception, on the sideline talking to the defensive coaches. So we have Keith Davis in at tailback, and Charles Wilson was in at the fullback position. He now goes out, and William Howard comes in at fullback. And Wilson, playing with a sore shoulder, can play both positions. 3rd down 2 from the 47 Tennessee. Here's Keith Davis. Played his blocks well. And he drives near the 40-yard line of Alabama, tackled by 95 Kurt Jarvis. Alabama player is down about midfield. So Alabama was driving, and until that interception, Tennessee looked like they were going to have some problems. But look at the run by the freshman.
They trap away from Cornelius Bennett. And as Tony Williams comes back to cut him off, they did a nice job of trapping John Hand on that play. Davis, again, a patient runner, displaying a lot of discipline. Waited for the hole to open, then took it back up inside. That's Wayne Davis on the ground.
He's the left inside linebacker for Alabama and a real stalwart defensively. This front 7 of Alabama, the 4 linebackers and the 3 down linemen, about as good as any football team in the country. But they can ill afford to go too deeply, as can any team. They need to have Davis in there. He had 3 tackles up until right now. You see his right knee with that deadening agent being sprayed on it. Tim, I've often wondered just how much that deadens the pain. You've no doubt had that sprayed on your bones a time or two.
And they couldn't afford that in the NFL. We didn't use that stuff. Get up.
They just patted it and said, chin up, it'll be okay. Is that it?
Yeah, I think mostly it's a skin thing, though. It just deadens the skin.
I understand that Don Shula taped an aspirin on a lot of the injuries and sent you back in there.
Kirk obviously concerned about Wayne Davis, a leading tackler for this Alabama defense. He had a great game against Texas A&M, 24 tackles.
Tim,
hate to see that.
Oh, I hope he'll be all right. But you didn't respond. Did Don, in fact, tape an aspirin to any of your injuries?
I don't think he went that far.
No radical medication.
Most of his cures were mostly verbal.
Oh, this looks very serious, as you can very easily see, for a significant defensive player, Wayne Davis, the inside linebacker. Watch this again.
Watch Wayne Davis, number 58, top left of your screen. Sowell cuts down to the outside. Davis waits, reads, guard going away, and gets caught up. It looked like the center roll blocked him, and he got hit from the other side at the same time.
Well, significant injury for Alabama. We'll report on the severity of that injury as soon as we find out from the sideline. Meantime, let's find out who came in to replace him there at that linebacker position. It's Lydell Mitchell, number 15, a sophomore from Pritchard, Alabama. We'll go in there. 1st and 10, Tennessee at the 41-yard line of Alabama. We're tied at 7. Second quarter. Robinson in trouble. Screens it right side to Charles Wilson, who gets the first down to the 29-yard line. Actually, that was not a screen, but he, let's call it a safety valve to Charles Wilson on the right side. Bennett with good pressure. Let's watch Bennett in his role.
Reed's head up, waiting for a screen draw. Not there. Hats up. All the way across the field. Here's Cornelius Bennett making the stop. A tremendous athlete, huh, Bob?
Absolutely. You know, Ray Perkins has said he believes he's as good at this stage of his career as Lawrence Taylor was. And Perkins coached Taylor with the Giants. 1st down 10 at the 29, Tennessee. Here's Keith Davis again. Not much this time. A yard, if that, to about the 28-yard line. Joe Godwin, the linebacker for Alabama, wears number 90, made the tackle. We're tied at 7. 3:10 to go, first half. We thought this might be a defensive struggle. Even though both teams have potent offenses, and Tennessee's can really explode on you.
Ray encouraging his defense. You know, Tennessee's drive was an 80-yard drive, took almost 6 minutes. And if you're going to score on this defense, that's how you're going to have to do it. Johnny Majors and Walt Harris have to be patient in their play selection and just take what Alabama gives you.
2nd down 9 from the 29. Tennessee started this drive at their 39-yard line. Robinson. Incomplete. He was looking for number 23, Wesley Pryor, sophomore from DeSoto, Texas. Pryor came off a knee injury in the spring and hasn't played very much this year, but Klingscales hurt his ankle. Swanson was shaken up earlier. And we're down to Vince Carter, Wesley Pryor, and Tim McGee most of the time here on this drive.
Last year, McGee had a great year, 54 catches, Tennessee record, and there was really no one to draw the attention away from him. The man's got remarkable ability, tremendous quickness off the cut.
3rd down 9, Tennessee at the 29 of Alabama. 4-man rush. They hand off on the draw. This is Keith Davis. Close to the first down, but he doesn't get there. Unless he fell forward for enough. I don't believe he did. He has to get to the 19-yard line. Good run by the youngster, though, who's approaching the 100-yard mark. That's his 13th carry. They're going to spot it at about the 21. He's far short of the first down. And Davis has 88 yards and 13 carries. So Tennessee, I think they're going to go for it on 4th down again. Is that accurate?
I believe the kicker's on the field, Bob.
Yes, he is. They are not.
He went once. You know, there's no sense in testing fate too many times.
This will be, they're going to spot it at the 28. A 38-yard field goal attempt. Reveiz is perfect at that distance so far this year. He missed a 47-yarder earlier today. Hit this one well. And Reveiz gets this one on the board. So Tennessee takes the lead, 10-7, with a 38-yard field goal from Carlos Reveiz with 1:41 remaining in the first half. And Tennessee with a narrow lead. $75,808 at Legion Field in Birmingham for one of the premier football rivalries in the nation, and it's been all it's been billed to be today. Tennessee with one SEC loss, Alabama with none. Critical. A very critical game for both teams, particularly Tennessee. Most people feel that 2 losses in the SEC will eliminate you from a chance to win the championship. There's Tony Robinson from Leon High School in Tallahassee, Florida. And Tim, what a great quarterback production they've had. Jordan and Woodham, of course, played at Florida State, and another player here, Moses Collins, now redshirt quarterback with the Volunteers.
Right. Gene Cox does a great job down there at Tallahassee Leon. And the funny thing about Robinson is nobody was really hot on him when he was a senior in high school. Had great production, good statistics, but he was just kind of tall and skinny and wasn't very assertive. They wondered if he could be a leader. And even for his first 2 years at Tennessee, playing behind Alan Cockrell, he didn't really have a chance to blossom, but he's sure in full bloom now.
Bobby Humphrey at the goal line. Gets some blocking. Tripped up at about the 23-yard line. That started looking dangerous for Alabama. But they tripped up Bobby Humphrey, and they will set up offense there, trailing Tennessee 10-7. So Mike Shula comes in now, and young Mike Shula is 5 out of 11 for 82 yards and 1 interception, his second of the year, that stopped the preceding drive. Tennessee took it at the 39 and drove down for the field goal.
They've been fairly effective in 2-minute drills this year against Georgia, against Penn State. Let's see what happens here, Bob.
1:34 remaining in the first half. That shovel pass to Craig Turner. He's up about 8 yards up the middle. That was a kind of a floater on that shovel pass. A lot of people. We saw a defensive lineman intercept one of those earlier in the year. So it can happen. You have to be a little careful with it. 8 yards on the play. Lower left-hand corner of your screen, you see the time remaining in the first half, down near a minute. Out for the first down goes the Crimson Tide. That was Bobby Humphrey carrying the ball. Beautiful Birmingham. Welcome to the beautiful sunny South. Actually, it's clouding up a little bit. Beautiful day to start this game. It was 78 degrees at kickoff. And now the cloud cover has rolled in. The breeze has picked up, and it's a very pleasant afternoon. They say on the sign here at Legion Field across from the press box, Birmingham, football capital of the South. And when you're here for this game, you believe it. First and 10, Shula from the 35-yard line. Bobby Humphrey incomplete at the 40. Excellent coverage. Number 1, Andre Kramer, was all over Bobby Humphrey, legally, according to the officials. Tide fans with a little bit of a boo.
Always a little dangerous there when you stick those hands up in the receiver's face. That can be called. Tide doing a good job of protecting Shula. You have to try to get your head and shoulders around on this play. You got to try to react to the ball. You can't just be face masking the man. If that's what they judge it as, that's pass interference.
Second down 10 from the 35-yard line. 36 seconds remaining in the half. Tennessee leading by 10. Draw play. Bobby Humphrey gets a good block. Drives out here to the 43-yard line. Needs to go to the 45 for the first down. Clock counting at 27 and stopping there. And Alabama has chosen to call timeout. Alabama will now have 1 timeout remaining, trailing 10-7 at halftime. Great marching bands from Alabama and Tennessee. You don't want to miss that. Of course, we'll update you on college football from our studios in Atlanta with Craig Sager and Alec Hawkins, and we'll have highlights from the first half.
A minute is an eternity in college football. Of course, in professional football, you don't have, this clock doesn't stop when you get a first down. In college football, in professional football, as soon as they set the sticks, you go. In college football, you first down in the last 2 minutes, the clock stops. And you combine that with your 2-3 timeouts, you just got a long time to move it down the field. Again, Perk on the phone with George Henshaw, offensive coordinator who worked many years with Bobby Bowden. Started as a, George Henshaw started as a graduate assistant with Bobby Bowden up in West Virginia, then came to Florida State.
The youngster in the center of your screen, number 13, is the sophomore quarterback David Smith, who's the third-team quarterback from Gadsden, Alabama. When you see the faces of these players, you know, sometimes because college football has become such a tremendously entertaining national sport, you forget that these are youngsters. Seeing the face of David Smith, he's everybody's next-door kid. And these are 18, 19, 20-year-old young men playing college football. Sometimes we forget about that.
Mike Shula will go into the huddle with a couple of plays. And he'll try to get them back on the ball as fast as he can if they don't make a first down on this particular effort.
3rd and 2 from the 43. Let's see what Mike the Mind does here. He very intelligently gives it to his excellent running back Bobby Humphrey, who gets the first down. Clock down to 22, and as Tim reminded you, the clock stops while they move the chains. Now Tennessee spreading that defense deeply here. They lead 10-7. 19, 18, 17, clock counting in the first half. Screen to Turner. Nice grab. Doesn't have much running room. Does he get out of bounds? No, the clock continues to run. 7-6. Alabama does have one timeout left if they choose to call it, and they do with 5 seconds remaining in the half. They spot the ball at the 48-yard line of Tennessee. So there will be time for one desperation kind of play for Alabama here, as they've used all of their timeouts now. Alabama drove down to this area on their previous possession, and Mike Shula threw one of his rare interceptions. It was picked off by Charlie Davis of Tennessee.
I'm sure Perkins is disturbed about the time that play took to run. I think he was waiting for the official to either signal inbounds or out of bounds, and the signal was not forthcoming. His valuable seconds ticked off the clock. Johnny Majors has to be happy with his team's performance, especially defensively. They've come on strong defensively. Anybody that can limit Florida to 17 points has got to be playing good defense, and they've overcome some injuries and just have made tremendous progress. In the fourth quarter, their first 3 games, they gave up 51 points in the fourth quarter of those 3 football games, and last week shut out Florida in the fourth quarter.
The ramblin' gambling defense of Tennessee. They were gambling, I think, on that touchdown that tied the game in their opener with UCLA. You live by it, you die by it.
Right. They haven't blitzed much today, though.
What about here? Possibly?
I don't think so.
Second down 5 from the 48. And they're not. Shula has plenty of time. And he's going all the way to the end zone for Humphrey. Nothing there, incomplete. And the clock goes down to double zeros. No penalty markers down, and the first half comes to a close with Tennessee leading Alabama 10-7 from Legion Field in Birmingham. A lot of halftime activities coming your way. Stay with us. There's no greater spectacle in college football than Tennessee and Alabama, whether at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville or Legion Field here in Birmingham. And today, both bands will be performing. You'd think it would be a bowl game with all the activity around here. This is the University of Tennessee Pride of the Southland Band. Director is Dr. W.J. Julian. Drum major is Ed Nichols. This halftime show, they call it Great Country Music. Tennessee band playing On the Road Again, and a salute to country music at halftime at Legion Field in Birmingham. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. We'll be back to join Craig Sager and Alec Hawkins in our studios in Atlanta for college football updates right after this.
Athletes reaching for the sky, fearless ones who jump and fly from coast to coast onto the plains. The Superstation's got your game. Some will win and some will cry. We won't forget the ones who try. The Superstation paves the way for superstars and super plays. They're the heroes of today. America loves to watch them play. Stand and cheer for our great nation. Super sports on the Superstation.
WTBS, great American sports.
Well, Tennessee leads 10-7. You can see it's been an even-Steven ball game. Keith Davis, the freshman running back for Tennessee, individually has outrushed the entire Crimson Tide running game. Davis has 88 yards of the 110 for Tennessee. Passing yardage about equal. Both teams have turned the ball over once. Tennessee unusually has possessed the ball almost about 4.5 minutes longer than Alabama. Alabama wanted to play ball control. That's something that I'm sure that they would like to do better, and I almost lost my train of thought there as I saw my vision in the screen. It's Ken Fouts. I was complaining that Tim got all the halftime on camera, so thank you very much. My mother will thank you, and so on and so forth. And we're ready now to show you pictures of what you really want to see, which are these players from Tennessee and Alabama. What a great first half. 10-7 Tennessee. And Tim, your comments on Cornelius Bennett. Do you feel he looked like he was playing up to his speed?
Well, when you haven't played for 3 games, it certainly has got to hurt your productivity. But he's getting his feet on the ground, and they've got a nice plan for him. They're running away from him.
Here comes Humphrey. Good kickoff return to the 33-yard line. Bobby Humphrey knocked out of bounds by number 9, Vince Carter. There you see what Alabama did in the first half. 180-yard drive. Other than that, they had to punt it through that one interception, and of course the half ended. Tennessee leading 10-7, and there's the Alabama offensive unit. Craig Turner, Bobby Humphrey in the backfield, Mike Shula the quarterback, Whitehurst, Chandler, Bell the wide receivers, and here comes young Mike Shula. 7 out of 15 for 95 yards in the first half. Now Murray Hill in at the halfback position for Alabama. He gets the ball on a misdirection hit in the backfield. Nice penetration coming right up the middle by 65, Robbie Scott, 275-pounder from Decatur, Tennessee.
They tried one of their Alan Tolles tricks with Robbie Scott. Tolles, a fullback, they moved him to linebacker, became an excellent player for him for a couple of years at linebacker. They tried Robbie Scott at center. That one didn't work out quite as well as they thought. Then after some injuries, they moved him back to defense. He played well.
Second down 12, Alabama at the 31-yard line. Sunshine peeking through now, as you can see. Mix up in the backfield. Murray Hill with the ball back to the original line of scrimmage. As Mike Shula faded back, he ran smack dab into his freshman running back, and Darren Miller and Brian Kimbrough made the stop.
Murray line. We're going to watch Dale Jones here. He's coming this time, working against Dave Johnson. Hoss Johnson comes back, drags to the ball, makes the play. He's a big playmaker for Tennessee, has been ever since he's a freshman, and really the bell cow of that particular defense. Although Ziegler is really playing well on the inside.
3 wideouts in there for Alabama, and it's Murray Hill coming way out wide to the right side. Bell goes in motion on the 3rd and 10. Unusual pattern, and it's incomplete. It would have been about a 9-yard completion. A penalty marker is down at the line of scrimmage, intended for Big Thornton Chandler, the Alabama tight end, who is the classic pro type end. Chandler's 6'6", 240. There you see the officials discussing the infraction and the signal. Illegal motion, Alabama. Well, there's a lot of motion, that was for sure. You saw Murray Hill, it was declined on the incompletion. Murray Hill was splitting way out to the right side, and that could have been some of it. And did they call offside against Tennessee also?
Offside against Tennessee. So they do it again. One thing that's really important for the Alabama offense is to win on first down. You know, they don't like to be in those 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. They're a run first, throw second type of football team.
This is 3rd down 10, Alabama at the 33-yard line. A little bit of confusion on this particular series. Now there goes Hill out of the backfield again, much like last time. Maybe they just tried it again. Shula in trouble. Oh, about 3 yards, but he was chased out of the pocket and tackled by Richard Cooper, the sophomore from Memphis, number 77. You see the picture of Tony Robinson. That was after the big Auburn game. They were all set. Sports Illustrated was all set to put Bo Jackson on that cover. But after the upset, it was touchdown Tony. Now a punting situation for Alabama. Chris Moore. That's a beauty. Good hang time. Kramer is going to let it bounce. Takes an Alabama bounce. Oh, what a bounce it does take. To the 10-yard line. That's what they're trying to do. Alabama was trying to do in the first half and couldn't get it done. 55-yard punt. We'll be right back to Legion Field in Birmingham.
Oh, you Oilers.
Some ball game. Ohio State just scoring. 1st down 10. Tennessee from their own 10 thanks to that 55-yard punt. They run it off right tackle for about 3 yards on the right side. That's freshman Keith Davis running the ball. And that's what Tennessee did in the first half. They had to punt, then they threw the interception, then the 80-yard touchdown drive, missed a field goal, and then came back after the interception by Charlie Davis off Mike Shula and got a 38-yard field goal from Carlos Revés, and thus the 10-7 score with 12:28 to go. 3rd quarter of play. This will be 2nd down 7 from the 13. Tennessee with 3 wide receivers in the game. They're going to give to Davis again, and he runs it to the middle. Nowhere. Oh, my. Hand and Jarvis, about 550 pounds of football players all over Keith Davis.
You're going to watch what a quick 270 pounds looks like. Quick arm over, gets right back into the flow of the action. Pow.
Davis having himself an excellent day today. This is the most he's rushed for at this point in a ball game all year long. He had 102 versus Auburn and 102 versus Wake Forest, but he didn't have this many at this point. He's got a chance to break that. 3rd and 6 Tennessee from the 14. Robinson, plenty of time, but this is what he does so well. 1st down Tennessee. We talked about it before the game, and that's something Johnny Majors said, and Walt Harris told us, Tim, that's something that he brings to the quarterback position that most don't.
Right, and he is a good runner. As we mentioned in the opening 39-yard run, he's got the longest run of any Tennessee back, and he doesn't just scramble and buy time or slide in there. He is a north-south scrambler, and he can make, I've seen film on him against Auburn, and you know, he can make people miss.
It's 1st down Tennessee from the 21. They had to start at their 10 after that Chris Moore 55-yard punt, but now out with a little breathing room just outside the 20. Pitch to Keith Davis. Gets a little hole for about 3 yards. Good block over there. Bruce Wilkerson made a nice block to open that hole. Bruce Wilkerson at 6'5", 260 from Philadelphia, Tennessee. Is, I don't know, would you say so, Tim, the best offensive lineman for Tennessee?
Oh, no question about it. He's come a long way. Played some as a freshman, and he just really grades out well every week. He's got everything you're looking for, the size and the feet and the intensity. Before we go any farther, I'd like to thank Don Shula again for taking the time out of his preparation for the Tampa game. Talk with us on the telephone.
2nd down 8 from the 23. Robinson, a lot of time, screens right side to Davis. He gets the 1st down. Once again, I said screen. It really wasn't a screen. Davis was just a safety valve over there. Screen involves blockers. He had none.
We're going to watch this again. Defensively, this is what you want it to look like. Get your linebackers out of there. Get some depth. Help in those intermediate patterns. Take them away. Now the ball's in the air. Respond to the ball. React to the football. Now make the tackle. If he makes a tackle, it's no 1st down. But Phillips misses, and 1st down Tennessee.
Davis, 94 yards running, 35 yards receiving. Having himself a heck of an afternoon. 1st down Tennessee out of the 33. Here comes Davis again. Not much this time. Across the 35 to about the 36-yard line, though. That's his 17th carry of the day. That is a workhorse. Speaking of 17, it reminds me of Johnny Majors back in 1956. Majors in this Alabama-Tennessee game ran for 117 yards on 30 carries out of that single wing. We talked to him about it yesterday.
And in 1957, finished 2nd in the Heisman Trophy voting to Paul Hornung.
He led his team that year to a 10-0 record, by the way, and Horning's team only won 2 games. A lot of controversy over that. Second down 8 from the 35. Here's Tony Robinson. Gets a good block. Gets the first down. Out across the 45 to the 46. Tony Robinson with a Tennessee first down. Volunteers lead 10-7. Remember, Tennessee has 1 loss in the conference. Alabama's undefeated.
Fake a little action now. They take away the pitch right off the bat. A nice block there on Cornelius Bennett, it looked like, who is probably responsible for the pitch man. Good block by Jeff Smith, and Robinson takes it upfield. Nice game.
First and 10 at the 45-yard line. Out of the eye. Play fake. Robinson. Nice play to Charles Wilson. First down, Tennessee. Wrestled out of bounds on the far side by 56, Greg Gilbert. Depends on where they spot it. Let's see. I believe it's a first down.
What's happening on that play action, Bob, is they're running off the 2 wide receivers. The one man's running straight down the field. The man in the slot is heading to the sideline, then up the field. The Alabama defender is turning his back on the football and running with the slot man, opening up that short zone. So when the ball is thrown, there's no one there to react to the ball to make the stop.
As you see, they're having to measure it. It looked as though it was a Tennessee first down, but when they spotted the ball, it was moved back about a full yard from where I thought it originally went out of bounds, and it may be just an inch or 2 short of the first down. So nevertheless, though, it'll bring up a second down in short yardage. Second down in just inches. And there's 97, Cornelius Bennett, junior from Birmingham. He, by the way, also grew up right here in this Legion Field area in Birmingham, on the west side of Birmingham.
I imagine both he and Bobby Humphrey would sneak into college football games over here, right? Can you remember scaling the wall? I remember doing that down at Dyke Stadium in Northwestern.
I always just tried to look poor and hungry and hope somebody would just invite me in. They never did. I guess it's because I didn't look hungry enough. Second down and inches at the 45. Robinson pump fakes and goes for everything. Looking for McGee. Touchdown! What a catch by Tim McGee. There is a penalty marker on the play. The quarterback is down. There's a penalty marker in the Tennessee backfield. They may have roughed Robinson, but they'll wave it off if that's the call. He's up and okay, and I think we've got a touchdown.
I think you'll see here in the end, McGee his concentration is broken by the great effort of the Alabama defensive backs. It's a curl and go. He just comes down and pops it out. Now up the field. Defensive back turn, run. Make up ground. Get your head around. He does. Good job by Freddie Robinson. Thomas there to help out. He makes the catch.
I thought he had it.
Never maintained. I don't think he maintained control of the ball long enough for it to count. But, you know, I've got a
defensive attitude.
Defensive bias. And if you want 6 points, you got to hold on to the thing all the way down. But great concentration by Timmy McGee.
Well, of course, you can argue that one forever, but it's is the man in the end zone in possession of the ball, and we'll just be able to. There he has it. There he has it. There he has it.
It looked like he was always kind of grabbing for it a little bit, never really had a solid hold on it.
Nevertheless, the roughing the quarterback penalty moves it to a first down at the 30-yard line, and back comes Tennessee. No gain. That was Keith Davis. Stopped at the line of scrimmage, Ricky Thomas with the tackle.
That time they ran it toward Cornelius Bennett as he came across the line of scrimmage. They had a wide receiver give him a little pop to enable that play to break outside.
7:35 to go, third quarter. Tennessee leading 10-7, and a controversial call on the touchdown, no touchdown by McGee in the end zone. What would have been a great catch. It's now second down and actually a little longer than 10. We'll call it 11 yards. Robinson gets out of trouble and gets slammed to the ground by Cornelius Bennett. Bennett and Robinson have a real duel on, as you can see. Tony Robinson is holding his left shin. He was really popped by Cornelius Bennett.
We're going to watch Bennett on this replay. Coming off the ball. It's a screen pass, so Darrell Smith, number 57, is letting him go inside. They wanted to throw a screen back to the left side. Not there. So Robinson throws it away at the feet of some offensive linemen.
You saw him grab his leg in pain as he went down. When you take another look at this Force Bennett comes in and chases him. Watch the right lower leg of Tony Robinson right there when he came down on it. That's the point of the injury. He's still on the field. Here he comes. He's getting up now. See it again.
And Bennett is in the flow as far as any roughness call there. He's perfectly legal there.
Robinson has to come out for one play because of the injury, and senior Darrell Dickey, the son of Tennessee's new athletic director Doug Dickey, comes in to fill in for this one play, but Robinson looks to be okay. The situation is this: it will be 3rd down 10 at the 30. I think Robinson's all right. This Alabama defense has been showing the muscle the last few plays against Tennessee. Dickey's going to throw. Almost throws an interception. Ricky Thomas just dropped it. Oh, my. Talk about dodging a bullet. Oh, that'll bring up 4th down. And an opportunity for a field goal attempt by Carlos Revés.
Like he called a check off. He was expecting a hitch from the wide receiver, and the receiver ran it's kind of a smash route to the inside. Fusion in the communications there.
This will be a 47 or 48-yard field goal if it's successful. Plenty of distance. It is good. Tennessee 13, Alabama 7. Tennessee with a missed touchdown pass from Tony Robinson to McGee when McGee juggled it going into the end zone, but they get the field goal. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. So Tennessee gets the 48-yard field goal by Carlos Revés, his 2nd of the game. He missed the 47, hit a 38, hit a 48, and it's now 13-7 Tennessee. That was a 59-yard drive, took 5 minutes 45 seconds. Almost had a touchdown, but McGee juggled it in the end zone. Official ruled it a non-catch, and thus Tennessee stalled and had to go for the field goal. We understand that, by the way, Joey Clinkscales is out with his ankle injury and will not be back in the game. Also, Eric Swanson was injured for Tennessee. We'll get a report on him in a few minutes. Here comes Bobby Humphrey. Driven down at the 23-yard line by number 22, Charles Davis, the man who had the interception earlier. There is Clinkscales, has an ankle injury. And you see it, the tape there on his calf area. They told us ankle. It looks like more of a calf problem.
And he really has been a deep threat for them in their first 4 games, and that might allow Alabama to play a little bit more 2-deep zone instead of staying in that 3-deep.
Alabama has Humphrey and Turner in the backfield with Shula, Richardson, Chandler, and Bell, the wide receivers. Trailing 13-7, 6:57 to go, 3rd quarter. Legion Field, Birmingham. Here comes Humphrey. Cuts against the grain to the 30-yard line and a little bit more. He was hit hard by 14, Terry Brown. Back to Atlanta for this college football update.
Thank you, Bob. This is Army with the ball, a chance to tie the ball game. But watch what happens. Quarterback Torrey Crawford makes the pitch to William Lampley, and Lampley takes it into the end zone. However, they ruled that Crawford's knees were down. They had to settle for a field goal, 14-10.
Oh, a tight one there. Jerry Faust holding on to only a 4-point lead with his Notre Dame team over Alabama. Boy, there's some hitting here, folks. That's close to a 1st down. Chris White with the tackle. Bobby Humphrey getting up off the ball carry, and Humphrey's been the workhorse here in the 2nd half. That was his 11th carry of the day. And it is a 1st down, Alabama, out near the 35-yard line. So Alabama has once again bent but not broken, with the exception of the 180-yard touchdown drive that was aided by an interference call in the end zone and forced Tennessee to go for 3 field goals instead of touchdowns. So this will be a whole different ballgame. Draw, Humphrey. Fumble, and it's loose at the 33-yard line. They say it remains in the possession of Alabama. Something that Alabama hasn't done much of all year. There's Eric Swanson. He was injured earlier for Tennessee, the wide receiver. Looks to be okay, but has not returned for much action. Thornton Chandler falls on this. Watch for number 81, Tim.
Humphrey taking it up inside. Who pops it out there? Was that Dale Jones? Nope, it wasn't Jones. He was scrambling for the ball. Kelly Ziegler knocked it out of there. That's 11 fumbles for Alabama, but they recovered all but 2 of them.
Second down, 12. Shovel pass to Craig Turner. Boy, Tennessee's defense has really played well. It looked like it came loose, too, right at the line of scrimmage at the 36-yard line. Tennessee is really popping. Both defenses were. Alabama was just finished with Tennessee's offense, and now the Tennessee D is doing the same thing.
Once again, here it's time for a screen or a draw. They run the shovel. Turner taking it upfield. Chris White knocks it out. Number 7, who's had a remarkable season for Tennessee. 4 interceptions so far this year. Just played really well. Strong safety.
It popped back underneath Craig Turner after it came loose. 3rd and 9, Alabama. 2 straight fumbles.
Here they come.
Shula going right down the middle. Looking for Chandler. Can't get it. He was covered by 7, Chris White. Incomplete, and Alabama will have to give up possession of the ball. The quarterback pressure from Kelly Ziegler, but everybody was coming that time. The Tennessee fans are who you hear cheering right now.
Ken Donahue, the defensive coordinator for Tennessee, had really developed a reputation for liking the blitz on 3rd and long. They haven't used it today. That's the first time they've came with a full blitz.
Another good punt by Moore, not as long as his previous one. Fair catch signal for by Kramer at the 27-yard line, but he got good hang time and no return on that ball at all. So Tennessee with pretty good field position out here to the 26.5-yard line. Tennessee leading 13-7. 4:32 to go in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee leading Alabama 13-7. Tennessee's leading receiver, Tim McGee, does not have a reception in this game. 2 Tennessee receivers are out, Swanson and Klingscales with injuries. Here's Davis. Good blocking, big hole. Down at the 31-yard line, tackled by 37, Rory Turner. Gain of about 5 yards from Keith Davis, who's getting up near the 100-yard mark. And Tennessee leads 13-7, 4:14 to go in the 3rd quarter, and it'll be 2nd down and a long 5, maybe 6.
Ronnie Zook coached for several years with Mike Godfrey, Murray State, and then out at Kansas. Talking defensive backs.
Davis drives for only a yard or 2 to about the 32-yard line, bringing up a 3rd down conversion. Right now we're going back to Atlanta for another college football update.
And we'll take you back to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame with the ball. Alan Pickett gets the call over up. And in 21-10 now, Notre Dame up on Army.
And another Alabama player is shaken up. It's Joe Godwin. The other inside linebacker, Wayne Davis, went out with an injury in the first half. We do not know the severity of the Davis injury, but now the other starting inside linebacker for Alabama is down. Several injuries in this game. 2 to wide receivers for Tennessee, and now 2 to linebackers for Alabama. Godwin is a junior from New Brockton, Alabama. They've been playing Greg Gilbert in there at linebacker. Todd Roper a little bit at linebacker. He looks okay. Maybe Wynn knocked out Tim.
Right, yeah, Roper's in there, and Wayne Davis is back on the field. And he's just full speed all the time, Joe Godwin. He's one of those guys that gets 100%, squeezes every bit of potential out of his ability that he can. And Alabama's the only team that offered him a scholarship. We're glad they did.
We're just talking about Tim McGee with no receptions. This is a passing situation. 3rd down 5 at the 32. To Panuska. Panuska out near the 40-yard line. Tennessee 1st down. Todd Roper with the tackle. So they're covering those Tennessee wide receivers, and Robinson's had to throw to the backs more than anybody else. He's now 8 out of 14, passing the ball for 113 yards and 1 interception.
That time it was Sean Lee giving Timmy McGee a shove and a chuck and following him down the field, preventing him from being a primary target for Tony Robinson.
Keith Davis is in at tailback. Charles Wilson at fullback for Tennessee on a 1st and 10 from the 39. Throwing on on the run. Robinson short hops it. He had two receivers, Carter and 81 Jeff Smith down there, but just couldn't find anything. Excellent coverage by this, what we had called a suspect Alabama defensive secondary.
I think that time they dodged a little bit of a bullet. The middle was wide open that time. And, whether they took the play fake or what, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but it just opened wide. And Robinson wasn't able to get him the ball. He made a great throw like that against Florida last week. Completed toward the end of the first half. It led to a field goal.
Second down 10. Tennessee at the 39-yard line of the Volunteers. Tennessee leads 13-7. Robinson again going to the air. Again on the run. Near midfield, he did not step out of bounds. They mark it at the 50, and it will be another Tennessee first down thanks to the running of that man. The quarterback pressure initially came from 78 John Hand. That was a gain of 11 yards.
Here's a young man after his first 2 years of college football was very discouraged. He wasn't getting an opportunity to play, but stayed in there, got his chance to show his stuff, and has just done an excellent job over the last 2 years. We saw him play last year against Auburn when he was just starting to get his feet on the ground. Saw his head get taken off by another Robertson, an Auburn Robinson, and fumbled in the end zone, but has come back and just done exceptionally well this year.
Another first down, Tennessee over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for 23 Wesley Pryor. It may have been tipped by 97 Bennett. This man, what a force in football, and he's not playing at 100%. He's coming off the injury, and Bennett is not at full speed for him. But as I was talking to Paul Kennedy, the Alabama play-by-play voice on the radio at halftime, he said, no, he's not at full speed, but wouldn't you rather have Bennett at 90% than most anybody else at 100?
And that's exactly correct. You can't really block him man-to-man. You have to figure in your offensive scheme of protection for the quarterback, assigning two people to number 97.
Second down 10. Robinson continuing to go to the air here. Continuing to find nobody home. Throwing on the run. Incomplete. The reception attempt would have been his heroic reception, but it goes incomplete. The Tennessee receiver is still down, and that is Vince Carter, number 9, who hit this artificial surface hard. I might mention, as artificial surfaces goes, in my opinion, I've walked on a lot of them at various stadiums around the country, this is one of the hardest. Packed down there.
I'll tell you what, they're all one of the hardest.
I thought you might have that opinion.
Let's watch Bennett work against Wilkerson. Wilkerson does a real fine job on him on this play. Number 68 keeps him off. Nice job. Finally gets the arm over and slides around him. Robinson's niftiness breaks the pocket perimeter, and he finds someone down the field to rip it to. Pretty soon Tennessee's going to run out of wide receivers here.
This is the third wide receiver to go down. Eric Swanson has a back injury, will not come back to play. Clinkscales has a lower leg injury to his left leg, will not come back to play. Pryor is down. You can see they're working on him right now. So Tennessee is left with Sam Grady, the sprinter, who frankly is not a real good receiver. It looks like Carter may be okay. Grady is left. Wesley Pryor, who's coming off an injury himself, has played a little bit. Then there's Troy Hale, who hasn't played in the game so far, but it's where they're getting skinny at wide receiver here. See what happens on this attempted reception. Oh, you can see very clearly what happened.
That carpet just digs you up. You see Britt Cooper lands on top of him and just knocks the wind out of him.
Now third down 10 at the midfield stripe. This game is really at a critical point right here, with Tennessee leading 13-7. Pump fake left, he goes right to Davis. Needs a block, gets it at the 50. Needs a cut. Close to the first down. Let's see where they spot it. I think they'll say he's about a yard shy. Freddie Robinson with a tackle. Excellent job of running with the ball for Davis, but I believe he's going to come up short. He does come up short of the first down. That was third down 10. It's going to be about fourth down 1. Tennessee's going to have to give up the ball. In comes Bob Garman, their punter. 4th and 2, really, when you take a look at it there on the sideline more accurately. Now, this is a key punting play for the University of Tennessee. Garman's going to try to down it somewhere inside the 10. Albert Bell can really fly, the junior college transfer from Coffeyville Junior College in Kansas. Going for the corner. Getting the middle of the end zone, or almost the middle, so it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. A 41-yard punt. Garman not happy with that, you can be sure. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. Well, this game's getting down to it, folks. It's another classic Tennessee-Alabama matchup. Tennessee leading 13-7. Tony's back on the phone to the offensive coordinator upstairs, talking about a way to solve this Alabama defense. Well, Alabama is running Humphrey, and the ball is loose again, and Tennessee has recovered. Alabama came into this game with 3 turnovers all year, and they've turned it over twice in this game. They fumbled 3 times on their previous possession. Dale Jones got the ball. Watch 54.
They're running the stunt inside. He's trying to close it down. Ziegler nails him. Who is that? Chris White. There's number 7 in there. The ball pops out. Dale Jones comes up with it.
Big turnover at the 28-yard line of Alabama. Tennessee leads 13-7.
Ray Perkins trying to encourage his team. That's 3 times the ball has been on the ground for Alabama in the 3rd quarter.
Hand off to the fullback. That's 35, William Howard. He drives to about the 26-yard line. So Tennessee, there you see the turnover situation. Alabama, 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions. That's the total for the year. Now remember, coming into this game, they had 1 interception and 2 fumbles for a total of 3. So they've almost matched that in this one game. Tennessee, very good at getting those takeaways when somebody gives them the opportunity. There's that aggressive volunteer defense. They talked about the fact, matter of fact, Ray Perkins was concerned about the fact that Tennessee was so aggressive defensively. Robinson with the play fake on a 2nd down 9. It's complete. Close to the 1st down, out of bounds at the 17-yard line. It'll be a 1st down to Charles Wilson, number 32. 1st down, Tennessee, leading 13-7 in the final moments of the 3rd quarter. Missouri just barely trailing Nebraska. That's in the 3rd quarter. Real battle there at Missouri. And look at that. In the 2nd quarter, Georgia and Vanderbilt in a close one in Nashville, 6-3. Florida was, this game was 0-0 in the 2nd quarter. And then kaboom, Florida in front of Southwestern Louisiana, 38-0. A real, I said earlier this week, I thought it was probably the biggest mismatch in the country. And now looking though it may be. On a 1st down at the 18, UT after recovering the Bobby Humphrey fumble. Penalty marker down in the secondary. The 25-second clock may have wound down. Sometimes that will happen to Robinson because of his audibles and checkoffs. Delay of game.
Sometimes he has just one choice, an odd or an even choice. Same play to the left or to the right. Sometimes Walt Harris gives him the flexibility to change the play completely from a run to a pass or the other way around.
25-second delay. Offense. Still 1st down.
So it'll be 1st and 15, and they spot it at the 22-yard line. Tennessee's been down here knocking on the door before trying to get the ball in the end zone. They've done it only 1 time in the 2nd quarter on an 80-yard drive. And as I told you, that was aided by an interference call in the end zone. Other than that, they've had to settle for 2 field goals. See what happens this time after they recovered that Bobby Humphrey fumble. On the option, this is where Robinson is so dangerous. Inside the 10, about a yard away from the 1st down goes Tony Robinson. Joe Godwin with the tackle. What acceleration this quarterback has.
Once he makes the decision, he tucks it under his arm and heads south.
And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. Tennessee leading 13-7, but watch Tony Robinson turn it upfield in a heartbeat, and he gets the 1st down. They make the long walk to the far end zone. Tennessee now has to drive into the roaring din of the Alabama faithful at Legion Field. 2nd down 1 at the 8-yard line. Full house backfield. Robinson play fakes, has the ball, gets protection. Down he goes, hit hard at the 12. Cornelius Bennett and Kurt Jarvis combining, and Robinson appeared to be shaken up on that play.
Play action, both tight ends releasing. Left tight end crossing pattern, right tight end corner route. Good job of coverage by Alabama. Kurt Jarvis, number 95. Cornelius Bennett arrived to put the vice on Tony Robinson.
Looks like they're working on his knee, Tim. Right knee, and he's in severe pain, as you can tell right now. Hopefully the injury is not, but Tony Robinson is hurt. Darrell Dickey, who has played very little this year, is warming up to go in, the senior from Gainesville, the backup to Tony Robinson. While we just take a moment here to remind you that today's game is brought to you in part by Buick and your Buick dealers. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buick. So Robinson is up now, and they're helping him off. He looks tender on that right knee.
Jarvis cuts off the north-south flow, and Bennett arrives, and that's painful, folks. He tries to get down. Oh, boy. His foot was locked in the ground. It brings back bad memories. Don't show that again.
Volunteers leading 13-7, 14:30 to go in the game. 3rd down, 4 at the 11. Derek, the senior backup in at quarterback now. He gives to Davis, who gets to the 10 and no more. Dickey with his second play of this game.
1 yard.
Dickey has not been in any ball game until this one. This is his second play all year long. You can see him looking at the knee of Tony Robinson.
You notice the doctor going to the other knee. He's checking the variation and the flexibilities between the medial collateral ligament and both knees.
This will be a 28-yard field goal attempt on 4th down. It is good. Tennessee increases their lead over Alabama to 16-7 with 13:44 to go in the game. But the story is right there on your screen. The injury to quarterback Tony Robinson. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. Tennessee doctor talking to Tony Robinson on the sideline. Still do not know the exact severity of the injury, but it's for sure Robinson won't be back in. I would almost say it's for sure. Short kickoff by Tennessee to Humphrey at the 8. To the 40-yard line, Bobby Humphrey. Tackled by 45, Darren Miller. There's the right knee of Tony Robinson. 41-yard kickoff return. And this is the man who makes Tennessee go. The cliche says the straw that stirs the drink for Tennessee. Severe loss.
Emotionally, that's really got to affect your football team. It's going to take them a minute to recover from the loss of that young man right there, and you just hate to see that happen. It's got to be a painful thing to watch.
Now Alabama trailing 16-7 has 13 and a half minutes to see if they can come from behind. Tennessee on a 3-game winning streak. Mike Shula. Complete to the 50-yard line to tight end Thornton Chandler. 1st down, Alabama. Sometimes an injury to a player who is so important to a team. Here's Albert Bell on an isolated shot.
Just a little underneath route. Shula really likes the tight end there. They're really developing a relationship in terms of thrower and catcher. Tight end can be a dangerous weapon and hard to stop in that seam area.
On a 1st down 10, I was going to say sometimes an injury even to an offensive player, if he's a leader like Robinson, can slow down the defense. Let's see if it happens. To Turner to the 43-yard line. Because Robinson is such an emotional leader for Tennessee. He'll have to suck it up defensively here. And there's Tony on the sideline with the ice on that right knee.
He got hit from the front, and you saw his foot stick on the turf. When you get that kind of action, usually what you have is damage to the cruciates, one of the posterior or anterior cruciates, which control the back and forth movement of the knee.
2nd down 3 from the 42. Bell in motion. Bobby Humphrey driving for the 1st down for Alabama. Kelly Ziegler with the tackle. Interestingly, again here, the leading receivers for both of these football teams, Al Bell for Alabama and Tim McGee for Tennessee, have yet to catch a pass in this ball game. Mike Shula with 116 yards passing. He's 10 out of 19, 1 interception.
Well, Alabama certainly is no stranger to coming from behind. They did it against Georgia to win. They almost made a miraculous comeback against Penn State.
They had to measure, but it was a 1st down at the 39-yard line. 16-7, Tennessee leading Alabama. One of the premier rivalries in college football. These teams started playing in 1901 at West End Park, not far from Legion Field. Alabama won that one 6-0. Now Chester Braggs in a tailback for Alabama, along with Craig Turner. Braggs is number 30. Shula going for Chandler. Leaping grab at the 19-yard line with a big 6'6" tight end. Brown with a tackle. 20-yard reception for Chandler, his second of the day.
It's pretty good evidence why Mike Shula likes to throw it to Thornton Chandler. Two things happen here. One is he shows a tremendous athletic ability by stretching up and making this catch, and the other thing is he's displaying some courage, because when you get in that position down the middle, you know there's going to be someone distributing some pain.
Oh, you just feel one of these classic endings coming up to this ball game. 11:39 to go. Tennessee 16, Alabama 7. Tied ball. 1st and 10 at the 19 of the Volunteers. Bell in motion. Shula, not much pressure. Bobby Humphrey.
See this. I want to know how Mike Shula got this one in there. Bell is perfectly covered, and Richardson are perfectly covered by Tennessee. They've got someone running with Humphrey. The defensive backs just lose sight of the football, and Humphrey comes up with a great catch. Perfectly placed throw.
Here's the point after attempt by Van Tippen. It is good. That's Humphrey's second touchdown reception of the year. A courageous grab. He was really stuck by Terry Brown, but fought his way into the end zone. The freshman who grew up in the shadow of Legion Field, now hearing the cheers. Within 2, thanks to that touchdown reception by 26, Bobby Humphrey.
See Haas Johnson riding Dale Jones out of the play, giving Shula time to deliver this perfect strike.
Bobby Humphrey used to listen to this crowd from that house. It's just across the street from Section 42 at Legion Field here in Birmingham. Now he's hearing the cheers from the inside after he catches the touchdown pass to pull the Crimson Tide to within 2 of Tennessee. 11:26 to go in this ball game. Tony Robinson, Tennessee's heart and soul offensively, is out of the ball game with a knee injury. Darrell Dickey, the senior backup quarterback, will have to come in and see if he can keep Tennessee out in front by the narrow 2-point margin. Dickey had not played a down, had not thrown the ball at all this year for Tennessee. He's a senior, son of the athletic director. If you look at the stats on that scoring drive, new athletic director, Doug Dickey. This young man played his high school ball down in Gainesville, Florida, where Dickey was associated with the University of Florida.
The thing we want to do is say hi. Bob Woodruff, of course, a longtime athletic director in Tennessee, and his wife Trudy at the game. We want to say hi to Bob's dad, Joe, who was a letterman at Georgia in 1913. Who was in the area watching hospital.
Darrell Dickey on the roll. It's complete to Charles Wilson, out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Very small gain. He's 1 out of 2 now. By the way, Tony Robinson's going into the locker room. We'll get a report, hopefully. You see him, I think, on a cart about to leave in front of the... No, he's on the bench in front of the Tennessee fan down there. It's pretty warm on the field. It was 78 degrees at kickoff, and the sun is out now, so it's pretty hot down there. The crutches by his side. A poignant story. Tony Robinson. Now Darrell Dickey's got the weight on his shoulder. 2nd down 8 from the 22, Tennessee. The pitch to Keith Davis. Look at the speed. 1st down. 20 yards. 28, 29 yards for Keith Davis around the left end. Cooper and Robinson chasing him out of bounds. And Tony Robinson nodding his approval and still cheering despite the pain in his right knee.
Nice block by the tight end of Tennessee. Another good block by Galbraith, creating that crack. And as you mentioned, Bob, alluded to the speed of Keith Davis. He's something else.
Keith Davis now with more yardage than he's had all year. That's his best performance. 127 yards on this day for the freshman from Nashville. They give it to to Charles Wilson. He gets about 2 or 3 inside Alabama territory. But field position becoming critically important here, of course, as Tennessee has that 2-point lead, thanks to the 3 field goals by Reveiz with 10:56 to go in the ball game. It has been another classic. Tony Robinson on crutches on the sideline. In the I formation. Howard, the fullback, play fake. Here's a reverse to McGee. Needs a block. Gets it, but no yardage and penalty markers go down. That just didn't happen. All day long, Tennessee's been trying to get the ball in the air to Tim McGee. He has no receptions on the day. Tennessee's leading receiver, they decide to just go ahead and pitch it to him on a reverse. Tennessee clips on the play.
You watch and see if this is a clip. Sowell does an excellent job.
I would not call it a clip.
I wouldn't have called it either. It looked like he's working to get his head around the front, and it was on the side. Brent Sowell did a beautiful job, though, of staying home and keeping that play from developing. Last week, the Auburn-Florida State game, we saw a load of reverses, and nobody played it as well as Sowell did on that one.
Here's the announcement.
Flipping, offense, second down.
There's the elephant mascot of the Crimson Tide. We saw a sign earlier that was being paraded around here that had an elephant carrying a machine gun that said Bambo. And I guess you know the takeoff on that from the movie of a similar name. Second down 27, Tennessee, after the penalty from their own 32. Darrell Dickey will throw his 3rd pass of the game over the middle. It's incomplete. Just a little bit low, a little bit too tough to hold on to, intended for Vince Carter. So the drive stalls here for Tennessee, or at least it's stalled thus far. It'll be 3rd down 27 at the 32, and there goes Tony Robinson. And if the injury is as serious as it looks, there go a lot of the hopes of the Volunteer fans this year. Tennessee 2-1-1 coming into this football game. They have the lead by 2 here, but it has been a very expensive lead over Alabama.
And that's that, you could make an editorial comment on the artificial turf, because what happened was his foot stuck.
On 3rd down 27, draw play Davis. Up 2 yards, down he goes at the 33. And now these Crimson Tide fans starting to play a role in the game as they are just exercising their lungs. Listen to this crowd. I guess you can get the symbolism of that sign.
Get that guy's name.
Oh, somebody will market a product every time you give them a chance. The good old US of A. Bob Garman with a good punt to Albert Bell at his 24. Down he goes hard, right in his tracks. So it's down to this, folks. 9 minutes, 19 seconds remaining in this game. Tennessee 16, Alabama 14. Crimson Tide ball at the 24. Georgia led Alabama late in the opening game of the year, and Mike Shula drove them from behind to score and beat Georgia. Let's see if he can do the same against Tennessee.
The last time they moved the ball down the field, it was through the air. A couple of nice runs, but most of the yardage put away in the air.
Shula is 12 out of 21 for 145 yards, 1 interception on the day. Single setback. Turner, who gets the ball. And about 4 yards. Close to the 30-yard line goes Craig Turner. Turner's been one of the favorite receivers again today. That's his 7th reception of the day, meaning he only had 7 all year coming into this game. 7 for 33, so he's had 14 catches on the year now.
He's running that flare control pattern out of the fullback position. He just kind of heads straight down the line, then he'll turn upfield. Shula looks at the tight end. If the linebacker's back with the tight end, he'll pop the fullback.
Second down 5, Alabama. From their own 30. Here's that shovel pass to Craig Turner. First down and more to the 43. Andre Kramer with the tackle. Alabama keeping it simple. relying on that offensive line, relying on the mistake-free football they've tried to play. Remember, the couple of series prior to this, Alabama fumbled twice on one series, came back in, Humphrey fumbled on the first play, and Tennessee got a field goal out of it. So holding on to the ball has not been something that's come naturally to Alabama today. First down from the 42 of the time. Humphrey and Turner in the backfield. Shule with only a four-man rush. Over the middle to Humphrey to the 37 of Tennessee. Boom. This drive started at the Alabama 39-yard line.
Shula has done this all year long. This ball's thrown right on time and perfectly. It has to be. See, you throw it right over the top of Ziegler before the safeties could get there and make the play. Beautifully thrown football. A dangerous throw, but beautifully thrown. I say dangerous because sometimes a tip ball, as happened earlier in the game, results in an interception down the middle.
First down, 10 at the 37. Stealing the throw again.
Whoa!
It's picked off by Tennessee's Dale Jones. We told you he was the big play man. Whoa, that was one of the shortest interceptions of a pass ever, about 1.5 feet. Point blank. Took the bullet in the chest. Big turnover, and Alabama has committed the same number of turnovers today as they had the entire season coming into this game.
Perkins telling Shula nothing you can do about it, just goes to lay it out there. Jones bats the ball and then makes the catch. He was just throwing that little swing pass out to the fullback.
Alabama had started that drive at their 25 and had driven and were really moving the ball until that turnover. Today, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble lost by Alabama. Tennessee had the 1 interception, no fumbles. That's been the story of the game. 16-14 Tennessee, 7:43 to go. Darrell Dickey replacing the injured Tony Robinson, showing good movement himself, incomplete. At the 40-yard line, he was looking for tight end 81 Jeff Smith. Dickey showing some mobility there, and there's young Mike Shula, who's thrown 2 interceptions today. Very unusual for him.
One was a tip ball thrown a little bit behind Chandler, and that one was one of the most unusual things I've ever seen.
Well, they talk about Dale Jones, the intangibles about a player like Dale Jones. Who's going to count on an interception of a pass from 3 yards away?
That's right. Every time we've seen Dale Jones play, he's come up with big ones.
2nd and 10 from the 47. Howard and Keith Davis in the backfield. This is Davis on the sweep left. What a great job of running in traffic. He goes down hard at the 47. John Hand with the tackle. We've seen a lot of football games, about 60 in the last 3 years and a month, and I haven't seen hitting much harder at any of them than this game. There's a penalty marker on the play at the line of scrimmage. Illegal motion, Tennessee. 7:30 to go in the game. Tennessee with a 2-point lead, 16-14. And you ask how important is Tony Robinson when he goes injured. Of course, heart and soul of the team, he's very important, but he had also rushed for 43 yards in the 3rd quarter.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Offense, 2nd down.
You could say that Tony Robinson is as valuable to this offense as, say, Ken Austin would be to Mississippi. And Mississippi is kind of crippled without Austin.
2nd down, 15 Volunteers at the 43-yard line of Tennessee. Three-man rush. Dickey's going to keep it. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's all. Wayne Davis, who was injured in the first half, is back in there for Alabama. As we might mention, is Godwin. Both of them had been shaken up for Alabama. Both have gone back into play. So it'll be 3rd down 10. Tennessee now at the 48 after they intercepted the pass. They haven't been able to do much.
Over the last 3 years, the average score of this game was 32 to 31. We're seeing much better defense this afternoon. A lot of courage on defense. People answering the call.
It's a classic college football matchup. 16-14 Tennessee. 6:47 to go in the ball game. Good protection for Dickey. Incomplete. Had 2 receivers in the exact same area. It would have been a 1st down reception had Charles Wilson held on to the pass, but Smith and Wilson were both in that area. So Dickey now is 1 for 5 passing the ball. Tennessee will have to turn it over again. Alabama will have 6 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the game. There is Albert Bell. He has not had a reception in this ball game.
They've been double covering him a lot, Bob. In their nickel scheme, they've been taking him away from Alabama, forcing them to go other places.
Into the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line, and once again, the kicking game is playing a big role. 3 field goals for Tennessee that gives them a 2-point lead, and now the field position battle will take place in the next 6 minutes and 34 seconds. This is Turner Network Television. That was a 52-yard punt by Garman, but I'm sure he would have been glad to give away some of the statistics to get this ball downed inside the 20 of Alabama. Went into the end zone for a touchback, and here comes Mike Shula and the Crimson Tide trailing by 2. 6:34 remaining in the game. Bell, without a reception thus far, in motion. Here is Hill. 6 yards. Darren Miller, 45, the tackle for Tennessee.
That's what you need on first down. Now it's 2nd and 4. You have a choice. If you want to, you can throw the ball. Most probably, they'll just run it a couple of more times. Take their time, taking it down the field.
Boy, look at that game up there in Nashville. 13-10. Georgia leading Vanderbilt at halftime. Nebraska has gone back out in front of Missouri, as you saw. Vandy playing tough, very injured against Georgia, too. First down run, Alabama, out to the 32-yard line. It was Murray Hill, the freshman from Atmore. So Georgia not having a first half cakewalk against Vanderbilt. Georgia with 1 loss in the SEC to Alabama in the opener can, of course, ill afford another one. Most people thought they'd have a cakewalk against Vanderbilt. Of course, the second half remains to be seen. And here, Tennessee with 1 loss in the league cannot afford another either. Most feel that 1 loss is all that you can have to win the SEC this year. Alabama undefeated. Kentucky, as of now, also undefeated. Florida not eligible. 1st and 10 from the 31. Here comes Bell on the reverse. He has the blocks. Out of bounds. First down at the 47-yard line. Kramer knocked him out. Still inside Alabama territory. So neither wide receiver, leading receiver, Bell or McGee's caught a pass. So they decided to just hand it to him, I guess. 16-yard gain.
After every play, you're looking at the contained responsibility away from the flow of the play. The coaches, obviously, George Henshaw up in the booth, saw something that he liked and came back with a reverse. I'm sure he's been saving it for a couple of series because Tennessee has really been hot in pursuit.
5.5 minutes to go in the game. Tennessee 16, Alabama 14. First down, Alabama at their own 47. They give to Murray Hill. Inside Tennessee territory to about the 48. Hit by 16, Tommy Sims, who has 9 tackles today from the strong safety position for the Volunteers.
Talking to Dick Bumpus before the game, who coaches the inside linebackers, a former great Arkansas player. He said they had to move around a little bit because they felt like they were a little bit outsized in the middle. One of the things that concerned them the most was just having the ball run right at them.
Both these teams have 21 first downs on the day. Score 16-14. Second down, 4. Greg Turner, no first down. Held shy of the 45-yard line. Ray Perkins with another ulcer game. This is not one that's relaxing on the sideline. 75,808 here at Legion Field.
Well, that's the life of a coach in the SEC, isn't it? Week after week after week. Quality opposition.
Again, we said Georgia should have a cakewalk at Vanderbilt. They have a 3-point lead at halftime. Pitch back to Hill. He is denied the first down on the 3rd down and 3. Darren Miller with a tremendously big defensive play for the Volunteers. And Alabama will have 4th down out here at midfield, and they're going to call timeout, and Shula's going to go to the sideline. You would think with 4:05 to go, they'd give the ball up.
We watch this again, a toss. Tennessee defender doing an excellent job of turning that play in, not letting it develop. It's Darren Miller making the stop.
Well, there's Shula talking to Perkins, and Albert Bell is coming into the game from the sideline. And Tim, again, I leave this to your expert analysis. 4th down, 4 at midfield at the 47-yard line of Alabama with 4:05 to go. It surprises me that they're considering not giving the ball up.
Well, there's plenty of time left to go in the football game. Obviously, that Perkins and his staff have studied film all week long in preparation for Tennessee. They know the capabilities of their football team. I think they have to fear. They're certainly a lot more apt to take a risk without Tony Robinson at quarterback for Tennessee. That's one thing they're talking about, and it looks as though they're going for it. And imagine they probably have a pretty good feel for the defense that's going to be called. They give him Shula a couple of plays, and he'll make the decision on the line of scrimmage.
It's a long 4th and 4 at the 47.
You almost have to throw the ball, I would assume, 4th and 4.
Well, we have Murray Hill and Craig Turner in the backfield. The receivers are Greg Richardson and Al Bell, both split up there to the top of your screen. Big 4th down decision by Ray Perkins. Tennessee's coming with everybody. Incomplete after the tremendous pressure on the blitz by Tennessee. The gamble fails by the Tide. And the Volunteers take over at their own 47-yard line.
Murray Hill comes out of the backfield, headed toward the sideline. Just a mess up in communication, I imagine. Probably an option route, Bob, and the receiver read one thing and Mike Shula read something else. I thought maybe it would have been a short option to Murray Hill, but he took the sideline and stayed out there, so there was no doubt about what he was supposed to do.
Tennessee, 1st and 10, their own 47, leading 16-14, 4:01 to go in the game. Tony Robinson hurt, Darrell Dickey at quarterback. Keith Davis flags down. Davis down at the 50. Kurt Jarvis with the tackle. We recap what happened to Tony Robinson. Tony Robinson on a scramble, hit by 2 or 3 Alabama players, and tore up his right knee. We do not know how serious the injury is, but he went off the field in crutches. Is in the locker room now. Dickey has come in and gone 1 out of 5 passing for only 2 yards. This penalty against Tennessee. Something else that happens when you change quarterbacks and you're not used to it. Dickey had not played all year.
Illegal formation, offense, 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Still 1st down.
I said he hadn't played. Dickey had been in the game a time or two, one or time earlier, but had not thrown a pass all year. We talked about the injury to Tony Robinson. Here it is again.
That's his right knee, right there.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah, that's obvious on that one.
Double tight ends, 1st and 15, Tennessee, back at their 42 now. Pitch to Davis, needs the block, gets outside, great speed. Good containment by Alabama, but Keith Davis still gets it inside Alabama territory to about the 47-yard line. Davis now around 135 yards rushing the ball this afternoon. Most importantly here, his field position and the time. 3:17 remaining in this game. Alabama has 2 timeouts left. Tennessee, all 3 of theirs. Of course, Tennessee will try to be just churning the clock, and it's running right now. And lead by 2, 16-14.
Okay, at this point in the game, no more bend but not break. You got to come after him. You got to pressure Tennessee's offense.
Something Alabama is not used to doing. Look for 97 Cornelius Bennett, their big play guy. See if he can do something like Dale Jones did for Tennessee. Hand off to the fullback, Howard, short of the 1st down. That was 2nd down 4. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about a yard or so. And Johnny Majors tenaciously clinging to a 2-point lead, 16-14.
He was a fighter and a scrapper as a player. He's no different as a coach. He's assembled a fine staff. Walt Harris has done a great job as a mentor of his quarterbacks.
Oh, listen to this crowd. It's deafening at Legion Field. 3rd down 1 at the 44, Tennessee. Davis. 1st down or close to it. It'll depend on where they spot it. He went down right at the flag. It looks to me as though he got the 1st down.
What really surprises me is defensively, and some people, this is a 1st down. Some people might not understand this, but at the risk of confusing some folks, they were in corner support, the wide receiver, way out to the wide side of the field. If the corner is in primary support, he can't get in to turn that play in, to make something happen fast enough for it before it develops. Usually you got to get in some kind of a safety support in that particular situation. Short yardage. Tennessee got the first down.
Time all the way down to 1:30 remaining. Tennessee first down from the 42. Hand off for about 3 right up the middle to William Howard. John Hand with a tackle. Alabama trailing by 2. Clock stops at 1:21. Alabama uses 1 of their 2 remaining timeouts. So Tennessee took over at midfield when Ray Perkins went for it on a 4th down, and Mike Shula couldn't hit his receiver. He looked for Al Bell, but under tremendous pressure couldn't connect. There's the 2-point story and the story on the face of young Mike Shula. We'll be right back. Tennessee with 3 wins in a row in this series, going for number 4. Minute 21 remaining. 2nd down, 7. Tennessee at the 39 of Alabama. Here's Davis. Davis down at the line of scrimmage. Gain of maybe a yard. Brent Soule with the tackle. Davis has had a day. He has rushed 20 times for 142 yards, received 3 passes for 44, and has accounted for 166 yards of the Tennessee offense. And there's Darrell Dickey, who came in place of the injured Tony Robinson. Tennessee.
I think defensively, when you set up your game plan, you go in by taking away what the opposition does best. They wanted to take away Timmy McGee. They wanted to take away the long pass. They've been successful in doing that. Tennessee's gotten more yards rushing the ball than Alabama would like to have given them, but it's been a pretty good defensive football game.
Now, we understand that this is Alabama's last timeout. The scoreboard here says there is 1 timeout remaining. So we'll check on the sideline and see for sure. We believe they are out of timeouts. Each team allowed 3 per half, and I believe Alabama's out of timeouts.
That's 3. That's 1 on this play with play before, and then when they considered going for it on 4th down, they took a timeout there, so that's 3.
There you go. And that with 1:11 to go in the ball game. Again, the scoreboard's showing otherwise, but our statistics are accurate, and I will always count on Tim's memory. The heck with the computers. 1:11 to go. The sideline conversation concluded, and Dickey, who has come in here, only gone 1 out of 5 passing for only 2 yards, but that's not what his job was in replacing Tony Robinson. His job was to keep the ball from being turned over in bad position, and he's done that thus far. 3rd and 6 at the 38. Davis hit in the backfield, loss of about 3. Clock at 1:06, 1:04, 1:03, and counting. This will be 4th down.
Just takes the inside hard. They're trying to trap him, but before they can get there, Bennett's got a hold of the back.
Clock continues to count. It's 51-50. Tennessee can, of course, let that 25-second clock elapse, take the 5-yard delay of game penalty, give them a little more punting room to try to punt it to Alabama inside their 10, and they'll probably do just that. The 25-second clock is blocked from my view here, thanks to so many folks on the sideline here at Legion Field. But you can see that Tennessee's going to let it just down. There it goes. The flag is down. The 25-second clock has elapsed, and the game clock stops at 29 seconds in the game. Now, to say it isn't over is a cliche till it's over, but it's 16-14. Alabama is but a field goal away. They have no timeouts, but they have a great young heady quarterback in Mike Shula and a tremendous under 2-minute game plan, as you saw against Georgia earlier in the year.
It's tough to develop an under 30-second game plan. That's takes a little more skill with no timeouts. And Van Tiffin, they've got a tremendous weapon in Van Tiffin. He can nail it. I think he hit a 57-yarder against Texas A&M, so he's got the big leg.
And Bob Garman goes in to punt for Tennessee. He has been shaky as a punter. He did not punt well against Florida by his own admission and that of his coach, Johnny Majors. He has not punted all that well today in terms of getting it out of bounds inside the 10 like he's wanted. And Alabama, you would think, would be going all out here for a punt block. And with 29 seconds to go, that's one of the procedures they have. The punt block coming into a play since Bobby Bowden made such a success of it at Florida State the last few years. Let's see what Alabama's special teams can do. Al Bell is back to take the punt at his own 10. So 29 seconds remain in the game. Alabama's out of timeouts. Tennessee leads by 2, 16-14. Alabama with 9 men on the line to go for this punt. They don't get it. Bad punt. Garman shanks it badly to the right. 5 seconds he laps off the clock. They march it upfield here, and they will say that this ball went out of bounds at the 33-yard line. So Garman gets off a less than choice punt here, and Alabama with 24 seconds. They are 67 yards away from the end zone, but much closer, about 35 yards or so away from field goal range.
What do you think's the outside on Van Tiffen? How far can he hit it, Bob?
Van Tiffen's longest has been 52 yards. He is 2 out of 2 50-plus this year. He's got the leg. Shula throws it as he's hit. It is not a grounding. He was throwing in the area of a receiver, but he went down under great pressure. 77 Richard Cooper was back there. Clock down to 20 seconds. It'll be 2nd down 10. Tennessee, with this gambling defense, will just be coming. You can bet on that on every play. You'd think most teams would be in prevent, but Tennessee didn't prevent when they got into that tie with UCLA in their season opener. Richardson and Bell split wide to the right side. To the left side is running back Murray Hill. This time Tennessee is prevent. Only 3-man rush. Shula. It's caught by Bell, taken right out of the hands of the Tennessee player, but the clock runs 11, 10, and stops there so they can reset the chains. Alabama has the plays called, so they'll be up. They are at the 44-yard line. Remember, you add 17. It's a 61-yard field goal from here. You can count it down on it, depending on what Alabama can get on this. Shula throws it out of bounds, almost picked off. He just rifled it out of bounds to stop the clock. Now 6 seconds left. I'd have thought they'd have tried to have gotten something on that play, because there's Van Tiffen. There you see, he can kick it. 57, 53, 52, and 51. He's 2 out of 2 plus 50 this year. And it could come down to that. We said at the beginning it could be a kicking game battle, and we had a messed up punt. Alabama's going to try to get one play with 6 seconds left. Shula just throws it out of bounds again. Clock down to 4. Lost 2. I didn't quite get that one. Here comes Van Tiffen. The line of scrimmage is the 44. Add 7 to the 51, and 10 is a 61. Well, we've seen Kevin Butler hit him from that distance.
I think on that last alignment, they're looking to see if Tennessee was out of position. Maybe they could get a couple yards. If not, they're going to make sure that this is the last play of the game.
Got the distance. No, it does not have the distance. It is short by about 5 yards. Clock to 0-0. The Volunteers have defeated Alabama at Legion Field, and that young man came up just a little bit short on the 61-yard field goal attempt. What a ball game we saw here today. But Tennessee paid dearly for this victory, losing quarterback Tony Robinson. Johnny Majors, 4 wins in a row over Alabama. Prior to that, Alabama had defeated Tennessee 11 times in a row. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television. Tennessee 16, Alabama 14. Johnny Majors, head coach at Tennessee, on the sideline, who's played against Alabama right here at this field. Coach, first of all, we want to talk to you, congratulate you on your victory, but I know you're feeling a little less than enthusiastic because of the injury to Tony Robinson. What's the latest on that?
Well, the only thing the trainer told me shortly thereafter, in about 2 or 3 minutes, I eased over to him, and the trainer didn't think it looks very good. I'd say our chances of having Robinson the rest of the season are probably nil. And it's a great victory for our team. Our team showed so much courage. Our defense, my gosh, it's a very costly victory, but it's a great victory for Tennessee. It's hard to do this 4 years in a row, and I'm awfully proud of our young men and the great job that our assistant coaches have done.
You know, did anybody, what was said after Robinson was injured? We said sometimes when a player of his magnitude goes down, it affects the whole team, but it did not affect your defense.
I said something to Ken Donahue, our defensive coordinator. I says, Ken, the last quarter, as far as your play calling goes, Robinson's out for the game and possibly the season. I said, don't say anything to Walt Harris, our offensive coordinator. But Walt asked me how he was. I says, Walt, Tony's out for the 4th quarter. He said, how's it look, Coach? I said, it's not very good. But I said, keep on the right track, keep your spirits. I want to send it to those 2 people. I didn't want anybody else to know. I was afraid it might affect our squad, and they were playing very courageously.
Well, this puts you in a pretty good position in the SEC race. I know you've got tough games coming up, but this has to be a critical and big victory. I don't know if you've had a bigger one in recent years.
This is a great victory. It's a big victory. We've got a very fine football team. This was the biggest blow I've probably ever received as a head coach, but we have some courageous young men, and we just got to close ranks and keep marching because we've got a heck of a tough schedule, 6 more games, and this is a whale of a league.
Johnny Majors, congratulations on the 16-14 win here today.
Thank you.
Johnny Majors, head coach at Tennessee, and Tennessee holds on as Van Tippen attempts but comes up short on what would have been an SEC record 61-yard field goal at the buzzer. What a great ball game as the rivalry continued between Tennessee and Alabama, and the Volunteers have now won 4 in a row. Alabama now with 1 loss in the SEC. Tennessee also with 1 loss in the Southeastern Conference. Only Kentucky, and they have to play at LSU tonight, remains undefeated in the Southeastern Conference in the race. Florida, of course, ineligible. So we hope you've enjoyed the game here from Legion Field. It's been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Reach for that distinctively crisp, clean taste that says Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Buick and your Buick dealers for comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality. It's today's Buicks. And by the U.S. Armed Forces, a great place to start.
Also brought to you by the Commodore 128 personal computer, a higher intelligence at a lower price. By Delta, serving more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there. And by Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one.
Next week, we hope you'll join us as we take our TNT cameras to Athens, Georgia for Kentucky at Georgia. Executive producer, Don Ellis. Producer, Skip Ellison. Our director, Ken Fouts. Associate producer, Rodney Triplett. Associate director, Richard Croker.
51 beer.